Yo, 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 my brothers and crew, my fans and my family, what's going on? As we go big blue scoop with the crew, stream tonight. It's a quiet night in the Northeast, and we decided to have a stream, bring in some new faces, try some new things. The love for football is obviously uncomparable. We like to go into the draft that's coming up, the combines, the scouts, and there are other sports coming up this year that we would like to go into. Baseball, hopefully World Cup, soccer this summer that I would do my best to educate on people on. There's a lot of people out there that love soccer, and we do football most of the time, so we don't have them in our streams, but there is a large pool of the nation that loves that sport as well. Look, some things have gone on. I'm not going to go into them, and there are some people that have a little animosity. Sometimes I might have said things that I shouldn't say also myself, so I come on the stream to admit when I'm wrong. But I extend an apology to anybody who has misunderstood me. But on my channel, or our channel, I want to say, you will talk about anything you want to talk. You will express your heart in any type of way you want to express your heart. And I will put the link in the channel, guys. Corey, Adam, Big Slash, see all you guys, and give me 2 minutes. Logan, what's up, Logan? What's going on, Jaden? Big Slay, Adam. Listen, on this show, you will express your heart and you will speak your mind. There will be no handcuffs to any titles that you'd like to talk about. Now, for the most part, we like to keep it sports. We understand that we have many people from many different cultures and backgrounds. What's going on, Bobby? Thanks for joining. Big Buko, thank you for coming in. I just wanted to say real quick, we will not disrespect each other, but we are secure enough as people to have conversation and not take it personal. I understand that the politics in this country is something we'd rather not go into, and we probably won't. But there's no ignoring that politics and sports, let's just say, has become a peanut butter and a jelly sandwich. Okay? There's politics involved in sports big time, and there's no way of ignoring it. Now, we don't get at each other and we don't take sides, but we could always have conversation if you feel like it. Like I said, my microphone is not my microphone. The microphone is yours. You take the mic, you talk about what you want to talk about, you educate us, teach me something new. Let's talk sports, and for the most part, we'll be talking probably football, since we're all a bunch of football junkies. What's going on? Giants Opinion Sports. This guy is great. His videos are amazing, and I just caught a video a few minutes before the stream. Every time this guy talks about offensive linemen, dude, the organization should call you up, Giants Opinion Sports, because you have a lot to say about O-linemen. I tell you what, it fires me up. Since I've been a guy who's been crazy preaching O-line for years, I think this draft we're going to get what we want. Thank you, Big Blue in the Bronx, for coming in. New York Giants talk, man. We're going to get everybody on. I'm going to switch people in and out. I try to do 4 or 5 together and then switch people in and out. Try to get it. Like I said, the microphone's yours. Take the mic and handle your business. Speak what's on your mind. Express what's in your heart. And that's what I got to say. Football season's got a draft coming up. A combine, which I plan on trying to do a show one of those days. I want everybody to join the big draft, and this is a monster draft for both New York teams. There's no way around it. It's a big draft for Bobby and his Eagles too. Slay, you got 3 picks in that first round, man. You got a chance to really do damage. We're rivals, but there's no hate. Everybody's invited. Any team, any fan, can come on here. My friend Steve Sabone from LA, Zion, they'll come on now and then talk about the West Coast teams. Hey, the microphone's yours. It's not mine. Let me put the link in the chat. I just wanted to express real quickly. Thank Nicholas, what's going on? Thanks for coming in. We got the Jet fan Nick in here. I wanted to express real quick. I'd like to dedicate this stream to my mother, who was a monster Yankee fan. I'm wearing a shirt for her today. She was a Giants fan as well. She grew up in the Yankees, Brooklyn Dodger days, and it was 8 years ago yesterday that she passed away. And so I put the stream in her memory, and I've been keeping her on my mind. What's going on, Authentic? Thank you for jumping in. The great Authentics in the chat. I'm going to put the link in there, try to get people coming on. Adam, Corey, the guys that I wanted to start this whole crew up with. Give me a second. Bang. Let's get some guys going on. Corey, of course, you could talk about the Mets. I know the Met fans were excited for the season as they put together a hell of a team. We'll hope there'll be a season. Right now, that's up in the air. Come on, Giants opinion. Come on. I know you don't got long. I know you got some business to handle at home with the family. I'd like you to jump on for the first few minutes with us. Throw out some things. I know you don't have the time that most of us have here. Jaden, what's going on? Thanks for joining the chat. I think I put the link in the chat, man. I'll throw it in there again. Try to get a few guys up on this panel.
Yo.
Logan, what's going on, my man? How you doing? Jaden, I see you, Jaden. Give me a few minutes. I want to bring on a couple of the guys that we got together to put this whole thing together for tonight. Adam and Corey, I want you guys to jump on first. And Sports Opinion, and I told him to come on because I know he didn't have long in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. So I've been thinking about this draft recently. I don't want to completely spoil my first round for my mock draft video, but I'm just going to do it anyway. I know where you want to go. I know that you want one of the top right tackles, either Evan Neal, Charles Cross, or Akeem Ekwonu. I know you're in love with Linderbaum as a center prospect, but how would you feel?
Well, I've kind of settled on Logan that we're probably not going to end up getting Linderbaum, but go ahead. Hold on.
I was just going to say.
My man, Opinion. Jump on in here. Opinion, speaking sports, giving education all day with his videos, man. He keeps us going.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Logan.
How would you feel? What's going on?
Good.
How would you feel at 7 if we were to take either George Karlaftis or Jermaine Johnson?
I have no problem. If we get an offensive lineman at 5, I believe we have to go defense at 7. We don't have to. But I'm thinking that's most likely scenario. Mm-hmm. But look, check it out, man. You could throw everything out the window if Thibodeau somehow, by some chance, falls to 5.
I hope.
And what do you think about that, Opinion?
Yeah, I mean, that's a dream scenario. You get Thibodeau at 5, and then hopefully at 5 that either Cross and Ekwonu are both there, so you ensure yourself one of them tackles with 7. I mean, that's a dream scenario to me.
Yes, sir.
And Jermaine Johnson, I feel at 7. I think you could trade back a little bit. I think he's going to go middle of the first right now, unless he just has an electric combine. So 7's a little bit early. Maybe you can Karlaftis maybe a little bit early at 7, but I could live with it. Like, it's okay. I'm not going to throw a fit about it. But yeah, at this point with Jermaine Johnson, I'm out at 7.
I think let me ask you this. I'm not even. I know some people are high on Jermaine. I know Logan likes him. I heard some other guys, around the Giants crews that like him. He's not one of my favorite picks to even go with at 7, man. If we're gonna go with a defender at 7 because we picked up a tackle at 5, I don't know why, man. But I've been leaning towards the linebacker Lloyd.
I love Devin Lloyd. He's the best coverage linebacker in the class.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys see on him. I know he's not the pure edge rusher, everyone, but he's this linebacker. He looks like he's special.
Mm-hmm.
I could live with it. I mean, I think there is ultimately, if you have one of them high level edge there, I'd rather go that route than Lloyd, because I think there is some later round middle linebackers that fit swing scheme good, like that Leo Chenal and all them, just blitz up the middle kind of guys early down. I just feel like there's some better middle linebacker options. I'd rather go high end edge and O line in the first round. I'm nailed down on this, Biz. I'm nailed down on this.
Right.
I'm starting to really like
Corey. What's going on, Corey? Thanks for joining us.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Glad That's my twin brother from the South, right here.
I'll be on cam in a minute, man. We can compare glare on the head, you know.
Hey, Steve Sabone, that's my best friend, brother, and my co-manager for like 15 years. He moved out to the West Coast, and I talk to him almost every other day. He knew about the stream. He's in LA. What's going on, Steve? Yes, Corey. We were just discussing 5 and 7. Obviously, that's what everybody wants to talk about. I think we lost the opinion, but 5 and 7, Corey. Where would you go at 5? Do you want to tackle over anything? If Thibodeau somehow, by some chance, we closed our eyes and he fell to 5, what do you think?
I mean, we talked about this real quick the other night. I mean, to me, the top one is offensive line. Get the tackle. I love Aquanu. But you're right. If somebody out of that top 4 happens to drop, which I think they might.
Fellas.
Hey.
Corey, how's it going?
Good, man. How you doing?
Logan, I'm good. You guys can hear me loud and clear. That's good. That's good
stuff. See you, however, it looks like
Adam's here, man. Adam's here. And
I'm in the dark. I'm outside.
He set me into place today. So I got to give Adam some credit for keeping me in place today. He knew I was still a little upset, but he cooled me off.
You know what, man? Fresh start. We're going to do it good, man. That's all.
I didn't keep anybody in their place.
I love having all you guys, man. I love you guys. All right, man.
Hey, listen, Miz, it's what friends do, man. We pick each other up when they're down, right? So that's what we do. Right? We're just here talking football. I know, Corey, you just had a spot in me to jump in on your thought process.
No, that's cool, man. Don't worry about it. Let me finish up real quick. Like I was saying, we were talking, we think it's entirely possible that somebody's going to trade up for a quarterback, even though this quarterback draft class is the worst we've seen in years. You know someone's going to trade up. Even if one team trades up, it's going to push one of those top 4 guys down. So that means a Thibodeau. That means a Neal. That means, somebody's going to drop to 5. So to me, it's one of those things that if they're there, you focus on Aquanu first. But if you can get one of those other guys, and think about it. If one of those guys drops, you get him at 5. Who else can be left at 7? A lot of guys left, and you can still get a good offensive lineman at 7. So I'm not too worried about it. We're actually in a really good spot this year as far as draft picks go.
Right. Like I was saying earlier to these guys, I see Bucco every day. It makes me sick, but I love this guy. That both New York teams have a chance to have a special draft. So I'm going to bring on one more guy, and what I'm going to do is try to switch guys in and out when I get a chance. But for the first 10 minutes or so, I'm going to keep this 6 right here. Opinion's back on. What's up, Opinion? Thank you for coming in today. I asked him to come on.
OS, my man.
What's up,
Listen, my thing is this, man. I've been saying this. I'm not stupid. I may not say it directly to Bucco because he's a diehard Jets fan, and we kind of get into it, but it's love. But the Jets have the pick before us, so they might kind of be dictating who we're going to draft. If you think about that.
Yep, you're right.
And I believe that the Jets and Giants both want the same 2 guys. So you got Thibodeau's and Aquanu, and I believe both those teams are going to be after both of those guys. Now, can a trade out come? Of course a trade out could come, and that could change everything. But right now, we're just talking about the players that are on the board, and New York teams right now have big needs. So,
what's up, Ash?
What's going on, Ash? Thanks for coming in. I want to recognize Ash who came in. I spoke to him a little earlier, and, I said what I had to say to him. We're good. I extended an apology, and I appreciate G Nation Lou for jumping in here, showing support. G Nation's a great guy. He has a great channel, and he keeps it real with everybody. So
he's all right. He's all right. Just kidding, Lou. Nothing but love for you here. But yeah, the Jets and we'll let Chris talk on the Jets since he's a Jets connoisseur, but I do agree with Miz. If Thibodeau's there, if he falls past, I mean, I don't know why people don't think the Texans are going to take him. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to believe this hype that he's going to slip. Okay, well, let's not be that team that's in the division and they get the defensive player of the year because we decided that he has too many character flaws. Okay, if Thibodeau slips to, let's say, 5, then Thibodeau is in our hands because we could probably take Iquanu, and then Carolina, who I doubt would take him because they're in dire need of other stuff, will take him. And then boom, here we are at 7, and we got him. Now, if we wait till 7, someone could trade up with Carolina, and get this guy. But to me, if any one of the 3 and offensive linemen drop, and I don't care which one it is really. It's pick your flavor. Like in 2020, you got Thomas, Wirfs, Willis, and Becton. Either one you liked at 4, right? Everyone had their minor flaws here and there. Becton more so than most, just because of the rawness of who he was. But if the Giants picked Becton, my lid wasn't going to blow off, right? This is the same way. If they pick Iquanu or Neal, I'm good with it. At 7 is where the fun starts. At 7 is where we're either going to trade back, because somebody like Corey said, them quarterbacks are just getting started on that hype train. Chugga, chugga, chugga. We're going to the combine. If these guys light it up in their combines, then guess what? The pro days happen, and before you know it, they're rising up the boards. And quarterbacks are going to rise because they want to get their guy.
Adam, let me ask you a question, man.
Yes, sir.
What do you think? We know Jacksonville's not taking a quarterback. Detroit or Houston? Do you think one of them will take a quarterback?
I believe Houston's more so than the Lions, and I believe because of the controversy right now that's going on with their quarterback, I think if they took a flyer on Malik Willis, right, and they have
that's
a guy.
What I was thinking.
Right, they take the Malik Willis. They have Davis Mills right there. He can kind of be the bridge quarterback, and if Mills does well, great. Then you can trade him to somebody else, or then you can put the young kid in. The thing is, what people are trying to say is that if you pick your quarterback at 3, you got to play him. You don't got to play him.
No.
Right? You can let him develop. Okay, that's the point that we're trying to make. A lot of these teams do the wrong thing. They just thrust the guy in there and say, "Here you go, kid." They have no offensive line. They have nothing for him, and then his confidence gets shot, and boom, here we are. And I don't want to say his name, but similar to a quarterback we talk about on our team. We will sit there and say, oh, well, we need this, we need that, we need this. Well, if you sit the guy and let him learn the game from somebody who's already played, right, who may make mistakes, you can learn from those. And heck, maybe these coaches will be like, hey, let me put a package in for Malik Willis to get his feet wet, right? I mean, there's many ways you can do this. I don't think it's absolute. Okay, that's what I believe. Now, if someone does happen to take a quarterback, good for us. That means we get our pick of the litter, really. Yep. It does.
I mean, I could see Houston or Carolina. Sorry,
I actually think the Lions are more likely to take a quarterback than the Texans, to be honest.
You always got to disagree.
No, because I think the Texans are going to ride it out with Davis Mills one more year. He actually had a decent rookie year. And I think the Lions, they're just like, they need a quarterback. And I know everyone has they have Jared Goff still, but it's like he's a bridge. And it's like, don't forget, the Lions took Jeff Okudah, and they passed on a quarterback last time. They didn't take Justin Herbert, and they took Jeff Okudah. So, I don't know. I think the Lions
Didn't they take Penei Sewell last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, but 2 years ago, they could have taken a quarterback, and they decided to take Jeff Okudah at third overall. And they didn't and so now, I don't know. They don't have a quarterback of the future. And I think they're more likely to take a quarterback than the Houston Texans, but I could be wrong.
Well, out of all these guys, who do you think? I mean, you've got Corral, you've got Willis, and you got Kenny Pickett. I think Pickett's the most ready. I think Willis probably has the highest upside. But
I think Pickett's the most ready. I think Carroll is the most exciting for me as a prospect because just you don't know what he is. He's like the wild card to me. Yeah. He could be the best in the class or he could be the worst in the class just by what he is. I have a sneaky suspicion he's going to be pretty good. Then you have Sam Howell. I'm not really, too much on Howell. I do believe that Howell has talent. And I know someone said in this chat that none of these guys, I think it was Byron Murphy, I wouldn't draft any of these quarterbacks in the first round. Well, guess what? if we are sitting here a year or two from now and these quarterbacks are lighting up the league, we're going to be sitting here, well, we had a chance to pick them, or we did this, right? We all want to say these quarterbacks aren't good now. Why aren't they good? Because Mel Kiper says they're good. Who's Mel Kiper? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, if they get into the right team, it's all about teams. If you get to the right team, you can make any quarterback look good. Derek Carr was picked in the second round. I guarantee you, if they knew Derek Carr was going to have that type of career, he would have been drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
Period. You can't dictate their future by what a combine or a college indicates. All you can do is project, right?
Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick.
You're right.
Yeah, well, yeah, Tom Brady is the exception to the rule. But if you want to go down the list, you got Russell Wilson, a 3rd-round pick. You know, you got Dak Prescott, who, whether you like him or not, is producing. He's a 4th-round pick. And it's all about what team you go to. It really does. Because you could be a 1st-round pick and go to a booty-ass squad like the Lions and never amount to nothing. Look at Joey Harrington. I mean, that guy from Oregon in 2003 was the number 1 pick.
You know, he was a guy who had an arm like you haven't seen in years, but he got killed.
Right.
And that's where it goes back to what
exactly.
you're saying.
Derek Carr, same thing.
Yeah, if you were, and that's why this year I want us to focus on getting the core pieces in place. Don't even look at the weapons till the later rounds. Get the core pieces in place where we're going to set the table. For all you know, you set the table and Jones has a good run. You never know. Or you draft somebody else next year. Or you trade for somebody next year. Or your primaries are free agent next year. But you have to get those core pieces in place before we can start worrying about who the hell the quarterback's going to be.
I sound like Mike Tirico. That's good. It's better than sound like Stephen A. Smith. No, but seriously, to get in this quarterback note, I know people don't want a quarterback. And I think the Giants need to pick one in terms to get into their system. Now, people are going, what are you talking about? Hear me out. 2nd, 3rd round, you get a guy like Ritter or Howell fall to you. You take a flyer on that guy, and you build a backup quarterback. Because let's be honest, if Daniel Jones is our starter, how many of you are putting money that he's going to play all 16, 17 games?
Hell no.
You just lost a starting guard by doing that, though.
Well, but I'm saying if you draft the guy, if a guy falls to 3rd,
hold on. Let me address that real quick, Corey.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that a 3rd-round pick is going to be an automatic starter?
Most likely, if they're the right ones fall, a 3rd-round guard should be a starter, at least by 2nd year.
Okay. Well, look at Matt Pert. I mean, look at Will Hernandez. I'm just saying.
I didn't draft them.
Drafted in 2nd and 3rd round.
That guy who drafted them's gone. So,
but you're not. See, but that's okay. That's okay. It's the guy drafted him is gone. So you draft a 3rd round pick. The guy doesn't do anything.
No. First off, Adam, you said a 2nd round quarterback. We have the 36th pick. You're getting a 1st round graded guard most likely. You are getting a starting
1st round graded doesn't mean he's going to be a starter. Will Hernandez is the same thing.
You could do that with every pick. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I'm just saying.
When it's all said and done. And you just want to hit on basically – no one ever hits on 100% of their draft picks, to be honest. No, even the best GMs don't. You just want to hit on at least 50% of your draft picks for the most part.
You have a much better chance at the top of the draft than in your first 3 rounds. You got a much better shot. They're at least testing.
Reek, you talk a lot of stuff, Reek. No, listen, GOS, I hear you, but I can't bank my future on the possibility of a guard starting in the 2nd round. You know what I mean? I mean, Shane Lemieux, how many of us thought he was starting? They threw him out with the bathwater. Said this guy was going to be a bum. All of a sudden, he's starting and takes the job from Will Hernandez. I'm just saying, you never know. You never know with these guys. So I can't, if we're playing the happenstance game, then yes, I didn't say I'm taking a quarterback to start. I said I'm taking a quarterback to put in my system as a backup quarterback. Now, if he outplays Daniel Jones.
This year you're drafting one in the 2nd round. I think that's a mistake this year.
Well, if the guy pans out, you have your backup quarterback and a possible bridge quarterback for your next guy. You already have a guy in your system. I'm looking at
Zion Johnson sitting there at 36. You're going to take a quarterback that maybe he.
It depends on who's high on my board. I also said a 3rd round pick as well. You can pick him in the 3rd. I'm not saying I'm going to reach for a quarterback if he's in the 2nd. I'm saying if you're in the 2nd round and he's there, we can consider taking him. Now, if you want to put hypotheticals out there, if Zion Johnson's there, you obviously take Zion Johnson. But then you have to relate what happened to the first 2 picks. What did I do there? Did I go back-to-back linemen? Did I do 1 lineman, 1 edge, 1 lineman, 1 linebacker? There's a corner that could be high. We're going to need corners in this round. Wouldn't
If
I
you
take a
take
corner?
Toa Lyman in the first, then you take my Jay Sanders, or you take your edge guy in the second. You don't take Ritter. That's just my personal opinion. I mean,
I'm not saying I take Ritter there. I'm saying that we need a quarterback to develop in the system. If we want to nitpick on where we can pick them, fine. We can nitpick all we want. You know what I mean? It's who's highest on the Giants board, not my board, the Giants board. Now, all I'm saying is in this system, you need a quarterback because our quarterback doesn't seem to want to stay healthy. So that's another concern of mine when I'm drafting a quarterback. I'm not just going to frivolously not pick a quarterback and develop him, right? Because
if Daniel
we need
Jones
guys.
listen, Adam, if Daniel Jones gets hurt, I want to win one game. I'm being dead serious right now. I want to win one game, and I want the number one pick.
You're not hearing me. I'm not saying to win a game. I'm saying if you have Daniel Jones out and you have Mike Glennon or whatever out, I'd rather give reps to the kid who's going to be on the team and not reps to a guy who's not going to be here next year. Okay.
Well, I want Mike Glennon because if Daniel Jones flunks, our season's ruined anyways, and at least we'll have a good pick. Bring back Mike Glennon.
Yeah, but the problem is if you have Mike
is
Glennon playing, you can't evaluate the rest of the roster.
In Glennon, we trust.
Playing. You can't evaluate your rookie. You have rookies playing because the quarterback affects everybody. So you're not going to be able to evaluate the rest of the
If Daniel Jones fails, you're looking at a wholesale reset anyways. The clock's moved back 3 years anyways. Just give me the best possible pick for the next quarter.
What's failed to you? What's failed to you?
Anything. It's his last shot. Fail is anything. He gets hurt again, it's done. He looks like shit. He's done. It's over.
So my point is, though, and I think Chris is right, is like, look at the Eagles. I'm not saying you want to win games, but if the Giants are on a playoff run and Daniel Jones is the reason we suck or he gets out, I want a guy in the system already that can be here for next year. I'm not just talking about this year. I don't care about this year. Daniel Jones means nothing to me. If he does well, great. If he doesn't do well, see you later, right? That's how I look at it. But I'm looking at it like, okay, well, we had Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon last year. And when those guys came in, we had no chance of winning regardless. You never know when you're going to need a Jeff Hostetler, a Nick Foles, a guy who's going to bring a Case Keenum. You never know when you're going to have a guy that's going to, keep you in the hunt. And I'm saying in terms of this, it would be nice to have depth at the court. They have 4 quarterbacks in Buffalo. 4. What do you need 4 fucking quarterbacks?
Worst case scenario to me is Daniel Jones is awful and we win 9 games. That's the worst case scenario for me. I want Daniel Jones to be awful if he is, and then we get a top 5 pick. That's what I want. Or if he gets hurt, we get a top 5 pick.
Yeah, but that's not
unless they make a trade back here, man. If they make the trade back in this draft and they get themselves another first for next year, you kind of know
that's that's another possibility. I'm completely down for that. If you get your tackle with your 5th pick, all the edge guys are gone. Screw it, trade back, do it. That works for me.
Right.
You set yourself up for the next draft, So
it really depends on free agency as well. What we bring in, that'll kind of, I wouldn't say give us a hint, but it'll guide us in a direction of where we might go. And we do need, if we cut James Bradbury, as people indicate, and seem to think will happen, well, we're going to need a cornerback at some point. We will. Whether we want to take him now or later, those are things you got to consider when you're dropping back if you decide to drop back in the 7 pick. Everything's on the table at 7.
There's some nice quarterback options in the second round if that's the route you want to go.
Well, if you get more picks, then you can pick your quarterback. If I drop back and get a second, and another third, and a first next year or something, yeah, I can pick my quarterback now and just let him be there. I mean, and be the developmental piece. I mean, I don't know, man. I just believe you got to have every position have some type of depth to it, because otherwise, what's the point of playing the game? You know what I mean? Everybody who plays would be like, well, my quarterback's banged up, but we're in a playoff hunt. Don't matter. I'll get a new one. Like you, and then
Adam, I'd be with Adam. Do you think this is a playoff team, though? The thing is, like,
I don't think it's a playoff team.
Well, then why do you even care about a backup quarterback? I mean,
you're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. I guess I'm going to move on from backup quarterback, because this is going to be an argument we're going to keep running around in circles.
What's going on, Afghanistan, baby? First time we see you in here. Thanks for coming in. Subscribe to these guys. Hold on. Let these guys jump in here. Logan, jump in, man. What's your opinion on this?
I don't want to take a quarterback. I mean, at 7, anything is on the table, like Giant Opinion Sports said. I wouldn't even be mad Like, what's you guys' thoughts on Ahmad Gardner or a guy like Andrew Booth or Kyle Hamilton? Because let's be honest, James Bradbury might be gone. Adoree Jackson's always injured. Darnay Holmes is always injured, so I wouldn't be surprised if we took a DB. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
I think Ahmad Gardner is super talented. If you watch that guy, he's 6'2", and he can the way he flips his hips for a guy that tall. And I just think he's amazing, to be honest. I actually have him as my number one corner in this draft. I know everyone has Stingley, but I actually think Sauce Gardner could be special, and I think he's going to go before Stingley. So I know Wink Martindale, your defensive coordinator, loves playing cover 0, and he needs guys on an island. So I could totally see you guys taking a corner at 7. So I would. I mean, I really like Sauce Gardner, so I don't think that would be a bad pick.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Adam? How do you feel about some of the DBs in this class?
Well, if you can get the Sauce, or the kid from LSU, I forget his name right now. Stingley. And then Hamilton. See, Hamilton's intriguing to me because I wouldn't be mad if they picked him at 7 because I could see them doing something with Xavier McKinney and him in the back and kind of switching them up, almost like what Seattle did with their safeties back in the day, or even like what they did with Troy Polamalu. You would have a guy over the top, and then you can have a guy roaming the middle. Like you could say Jabril Peppers is that guy, but this guy has a little bit more range, can do a little bit more things. So I wouldn't be mad about that, nor would I be mad about a cornerback because if you're getting rid of James Bradbury, as we say, because I don't necessarily think we have to get rid of him, but for money purposes, he's going to be a cap casualty probably. We have to think of that because Aaron Robinson hasn't started, so it's going to be an open competition with some young guys and guys that are third-round picks for a reason. Now, I'm not saying they can't produce. I'm not saying they're not going to be good. But if you bring in a Stingley or you bring in a Sauce, right then and there that guy is going to at least be on the field. And who knows? Maybe he plays well. Maybe he's like a Patrick Surtain. Maybe he's like a Lattimore for the New Orleans Saints. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that.
Well, the thing with Stingley is if you're getting freshman Stingley, he might be the best player in this draft. But I don't know if you're getting freshman Stingley or you're getting the Stingley that's been banged up the past 2 years. Because freshman Stingley might be the best player in this draft if that's the guy you're getting.
Probably is.
Yeah.
Corey, where are you? Alive, Corey?
He's smoking.
I'm here.
Oh, damn.
Go ahead, Corey. What does Corey want from 5 to 7? What are the names?
You know my thing, man. I want a corner at 5. But after that, I like the idea of Hamilton. I mean, like I said, I think Bradbury could be gone. I like that idea of pairing him up with the other
Hamilton and McKinney.
Hamilton and McKinney would be crazy, I think. I mean, that'd be pretty damn cool. But I honestly, man, I'm at the point where I'd rather take 2 offensive linemen or offensive linemen and an edge rusher. I mean, I want my trenches fixed.
Yes.
I mean, they've been garbage for years.
Yes, I'm with Corey on all that.
I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it.
I know people also hate the word culture and stuff. So, but starting for Joe Shane, I think Sauce Gardner and Kyle Hamilton, say the offensive linemen are gone. Those 2 guys I think they would be culture builders to start the new regime. To be honest,
Here we go
those guys. I know everyone hates the word, but everyone uses it, and I know.
You know what? It is a bad word, but you know what? It is essential nowadays. Not in culture. I think it's what do you want your team to be?
Identity.
It's your identity. Identity is probably a better word, man. Are you guys going to be a solid foundational team that kicks ass in the trenches? Or are you going to be a flash in the pan that has a few guys like Tony who can get you 185 yards in one game and then nothing the rest of the year? I think Tony's got the skills to be a long-term contributor. And the fact that he's cheap is awesome. But the bottom line is I don't want to take a flyer on these guys who are weapons. I don't want any weapons this year unless they're going to be kick-ass edge rushers or they're going to be a solid 5 to 10 year starter on the offensive line. Maybe I'm alone here. I know a lot of you guys feel the same way. I know Miz does too. But I just want to fix the garbage. We have not had – give me the last time we had a Pro Bowl linebacker.
Exactly.
What's that? Antonio Pierce.
What's that?
Yeah, Antonio Pierce, who is now the Washington Commanders.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Blake Martinez is pretty good.
Yo, hold on. Let's be honest, man. Antonio Pierce was a very smart linebacker who was
Yes.
like a quarterback of the defense when we made that run. He was no great athletic linebacker.
Dude, he was like a beer. He's
beer
a six-pack drinking guy, man.
Well, he got torched in the passing game for sure. Anything over his head.
Well, you know what though?
like
But
a
he
deer
was
headlight.
the heart and soul of that defense. I mean, so you
He
got to give him
was.
credit. Kind of like Blake
He was a
Martinez.
leader.
I mean, Miz is like the same opinion as me. You can get Blake back for a little bit of a discount. Do it. I mean, because the guy is everywhere. He is in every tackle. You want a guy like that to kind of pass it along to the younger guys. You want him to educate the other guys on how to be, like you said, he's not a full-blown dog, like you said in your earlier video, Miss, but he does have a little bit of, he has some bite in him. You know what I mean?
What do you
You
think
wanna get
about
a guy like that
re-signing
in there.
Jalen Smith?
Nah.
Nah.
I mean, I bring him back. If you need bodies, you bring him back, right? And you
Yeah.
see what
Just use
happens.
him
Worst
a
case
camp body.
scenario,
Give him vet minimum.
right?
Well,
Yeah,
also-
Jalen Smith ain't too bad, and because we don't know what's going to happen with the linebacker position, you can't just discard a guy. If you can get him for the vet minimum, like Giant Opinion Sports says, I would do that because he does have some talent, and who knows what's going to happen during the season. You want a guy who knows your system already. So,
Real quick, I got to call out this comment here that Logan made. Sub to Miz, I will run a lot you, man. Who are you going to run a lot? I'll just put you under, man. I don't want to hear about it.
Also, if you could restructure Blake Martinez, no one's talking about this, but it's like, say you do draft a linebacker in the first round or second round, third round, whatever, you can make him develop. If you could restructure Blake Martinez, you could eventually let's figure the Giants are not going to be a playoff team next year. They're just going to try rebuilding with rookies, and this is going to be year one of their rebuild.
To me, you shoot for
Technically,
6 wins next year.
Instead of getting rid of these guys, everyone was talking about trading this guy, trading that guy. You hold on to these guys, let them rebuild their value, and then come trade deadline, you could trade them to playoff contenders. That and with a restructured deal, someone may be willing to.
can we have you build our team?
Because
No,
it's
but
like,
you
you
don't have
to
the
get
guy.
rid
You
of.
know that.
You don't
Who
have
goes
to
the
get rid
guy
of
that builds
everybody.
teams? The GM right there.
You don't have to.
Yeah,
get rid
I
of
know. I
everybody
talk
in the
with him every
offseason.
day.
You could trade them at the trade deadline also to playoff contenders. So
It makes sense to me, man.
Quick, before you guys go, real quick, I just want to get a couple guys in the chat statements since I can't get on more than 6 guys at once, and I'll try to get some guys on in a few minutes. But we got Authentic. He played well enough to be back. I think he was talking about Martinez. I think Lorenzo as well. Prove it deal. Bobby,
I would do that.
Of course, Bobby's on the old school thought with all of us. He always has been. If you're truly rebuilding, you're going O-line first, and period. That's true. Afghanistan said all the time, I prefer to use the first 3 picks in the trenches. I'd love to land a good defensive end. And you know what? I'd love to see the Giants do that too. I'd love the Giants to go overboard on the O-line and rushes, and forget about all the other things till later on. Let's use one draft to really stack the trenches here,
Well, let me ask you this.
Also.
What if they sign some guys in free agency that they deem somewhat starter worthy on the offensive line, right? Because let's break it down. We got Thomas, who we believe is back. Shane Lemieux, I'm 50-50 on, but they liked him enough to keep him, and he was going to be a starter this year, so I'll throw him on the line, right? That's 2 guys you got. Then you got really nothing else. You got 3 empty spots. Now, what if they decide they want to bring in, like Opinion Sports had Austin Corbett. His name came to my mind, so I'll use him. Thank you for doing those videos. You do a great job. If the Giants go in and they decide to sign him as a center, and then you sign another guard, so you bring in 2 guys, right? You sign a guard, or you decide you let Brett Bredesen fight with this new guard, right? Then you only have 1 guy to do is Iquanu, and then you can bring in a depth piece. All I'm saying is like we can't just neglect everything else. If the free agency leads to some gets, right? If we have a defensive end in the second round that is there, and we're going to be like, oh, we're going to fix the trenches. I mean, someone just told me a 3rd rounder should be starting, so we got 2 3rd rounders. So why don't I wait till the 3rd round if I can pick the guard and tackle in the first, and wait till the 3rd round and pick the best linebacker there, and then pick a tight end with one of those other 3rd picks? I'm just saying, like, let's see what they do in free agency before we get desperate and try to, take these picks, because you need other positions. Look what happens. A rash of injuries out of nowhere comes, we think is all healthy. Then boom, the receiving core, everyone goes down. You have nobody. So maybe we should think in terms of depth as well, not just, hey, let's sign a lineman and then we have no depth on the defense.
Well,
Yeah,
Adam,
But the
say
thing
you
is,
sign.
in one draft, you're not going to get to everything in one draft. So I think, and I don't think we have the ability to go hit a bunch of spots in free agency this year. I think it's time. If we can, I'm not saying we can. I'm not saying you're wrong. But if we only have the luxury to really stack one location on this team, I think it's time we do the O-line and grab one edge rusher.
Well, we're losing 18 guys via free agency. We're going to cut like maybe 4 or 5 guys to get under the cap. That's 22 guys we've got to replace, right? And some of them are on the offensive line that we got going. Pierce, Price, and Henderson, Hernandez, and a few other guys are leaving. So I don't mind bringing in bodies there. But let's think of the team in general as a whole. We're still rebuilding. If you have a chance to get somebody, you get them and you plug them in there and you put them in the system and you go. Right? Free agency is supposed to help you anchor your team down. I'm not saying we're going on a spending spree, but the Giants are going to have to spend money on some free agencies in the Walmart shopping, dollar section, right? They're not going to have the pick of the litter here, but they're going to be bargain bin shopping. And when you go bargain bin shopping, or you get a guy like a Norwell who's older, right, to fill a void, doesn't mean you don't draft a guy, but let's see what plays out and do it that way, because then guess what happens? You decide not to draft that second round safety that was there. He goes off and balls out, and you have a struggling lineman there that's not doing nothing for you. So I'm just saying we can't just rob Peter to pay Paul. Let's see what they do in free agency. Let's see how they build it, and let's bring in guys along the way. I think at least 2 linemen need to come out of this draft. At least 2.
You can't just draft for need, because then that puts you in trouble. I would say you can't really build. I mean, you can, but I don't think you could build an offensive line in 1 year either. So personally, for the Giants, it's like you got Andrew Thomas as your left tackle. I think this draft should be about either making the left side of your offensive line, like get a left guard and a center, or you get a left guard and a right tackle, and you fill in a couple of band-aids in free agency, and in the next year you take another offensive lineman. So it's not all in 1 year, but it's still an improvement from last year. So maybe you get a left guard, and now you got a guy next to Andrew Thomas for the next 10 years, hopefully, and maybe you get a right tackle, and now you got bookend left tackles and right tackles for the next 10 years, hopefully. You band-aid the center position, and you band-aid the right guard position for 1 year. I'm not saying don't avoid it, just get cheaper veteran free agents, and then the following year, again in the draft, you take another maybe offensive lineman in the first or second round, and then there you go. Not everyone has a offensive line. Every player is a first round pick, but you just get a couple of them that you can grow with and call it a day. And then the next draft you do it, because if you start drafting for need and just say I need offensive linemen in every round, you're just going to pass up on a bunch of good players, and some of the offensive linemen you think may not be good because you just took them for need. But I don't know. It's up to you guys.
I know opinion. I know you're waiting to say something, so my thing is what I always say. I'm going to stick with this one thing. Do not leave this first round without a real solid, starting offensive lineman, man. Do not leave this first round without drafting. And I believe this regime is not the same as the last, obviously. So I think they know that. Go ahead, opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get the tackle, one of them two. You got to get one of them tackles. Cross, Iquanu, one of them 3. Right. And then as for the second, third round, I mean, you take BPA if you invest some mid-level contracts in center and guard. But again, if you're in the second round and Zion Johnson is sitting there and need meets value, I'm not scared to, just because we signed a mid-level guard, to draft that guard either. Ideally, that's where you want to catch your guard. You want to catch them sliding up at the end, into the beginning of the second and third round. You don't want to have to go and do such a huge need in guard where you have to take a top 10 pick and invest in there. I want to catch them up, but obviously it all depends on how the draft falls out. But even if I sign a mid-level center or guard, I'm not scared to draft over on top of them or behind them. It's just the way I'm feeling at the moment right now after watching years and years of this just horribleness.
Right.
Well, let's face it, too. This draft is actually the top of this draft is basically defensive edge rushers and offensive linemen. You have to come away with at least one offensive lineman.
There's some decent edges in there too, man. That's why I'm saying, if you have that kid from Minnesota, the edge, and he outweighs a guard, I'm not just going to reach for a guard to pick a guard because that I'm hoping that he's going to be projected. I'm going to take the highest rated player. You know what I mean? And what I'm saying with those linemen that come in, I'm not saying they're the end all be all. And I agree with you, GOS, that a mid-level guard is not going to stop me from drafting a potential prospect. If he falls to me in the second or third round, he's the highest on my board. No way. I agree with you there. All I'm saying is that if they do the right thing and then we bring in the right free agents, because we don't know if these players are going to pan out regardless. So we could sit here and go back and forth, but even though we don't like all the picks that Gettleman made, he had at bats at certain areas, right? He picked 3 linemen in 2020. He picked a lineman in 2018. He brought in 2 linemen in 2018. So it wasn't like we didn't try. It's just the players that were picked were coached badly and fell off a cliff when they got here, right? So I mean, hopefully this coaching staff that's brought in here, and this is what I think it really needs to be talked about, is the coaching staff is going to have to make these guys better, right? Because that's what their job is. They take the guys, they get the free agency list, they go down the list, say, this is how much money we got. What do you see in this player? Why do you want to bring him in, right? They bring the guy in. Let's hope that they have a plan that's going to help these guys succeed, right? And then when you draft players, hopefully they'll come in, and backup players like 5th-round picks will shine for you, because the draft people that are coming in and looking at these players are starting to hit gems. That's what we need, is really this coaching staff to start to build a team right, get the players to play better, and take the guys that we deem we're getting in the second round and make them all pros or decent starters.
Hold on, let's get a few of the Logan. You there? There's Logan disappeared. Just go through a couple of these. Maybe you guys want to answer them. We have guys.
Shout out to Afghanistan, man. Shout out to Afghanistan.
We have Afghanistan right here. Firstly, say before we start the 2023 season, we need 4 O linemen.
I've been saying that for months, man.
100%.
Bring him over. Bring Thomas back. Everybody else, sandbag him.
Yeah, like I call them, we have 4 trash bags and Thomas right now.
That's it, man. You got heck, trash bags and sandbags got more movement than our guys.
Well, listen,
they're just terrible.
Because we don't have a lot of money.
Statement that's been the Giants' problem for the last 6 years by placing a Band-Aid. I guess this was Tabuco's statement. Band-Aid on an old line every year.
But I get that, but there are some. I mean, maybe your past GM picked the wrong players when he was trying to put the Band-Aids together. But there are going to be some pretty good offensive linemen at free agents too. If you can afford one of them, and you try to look for the younger guys. Not too many. There's not too many times they actually hit free agency. There are going to be guys that are going to hit free agency. Guy on the Buccaneers named Alex Kappa. He's like 26 years old. There's going to be some Daniels on the Bears. He's only going to be 24 years old. Those most likely the Buccaneers guys going to become available. Those aren't Band-Aids. They could be long-term starters also. So if you can grab one of those guys, say you don't have a huge free agency, but you can just grab one offensive lineman, and then you could just draft two offensive linemen. There's your 3 players. And what I mean by Band-Aids is for depth. Like towards you don't sign the tier 1 free agents, but you need that too, because not only do you need 5-starring offensive linemen, you need backups to back those guys up.
Just
so you may have to sign some 1 year.
As of today, guys, Nate Solder is gone. His contract was voided. He's done.
Yeah. Thank God.
That was just that was just a bad signing. It's always told that you never.
That was a desperation signing.
You never sign New England free agents, because guess what? Bill Belichick.
Well, the thing was,
go ahead.
Like we had nobody. We kind of had to do it. We had nobody.
First off, he was the only one left on the market, right? After Norwell went to the Panthers, we couldn't nab that guy. I mean, to the Jaguars from the Panthers, we couldn't nab him. We pivoted to Omame, who had a decent year in Jacksonville and then shit the bed when he came here. And then we had Nate Solder, who was blocking for arguably the best quarterback in NFL history. So that made up for a lack of deficiency that we saw. Not to mention that he fell off a cliff. And last year was bad because he said the year prior that he didn't do any football-related things due to COVID. So it was kind of like one of those things where you're like, maybe you shouldn't bring him back. Oh, but he's a nice guy. Here we go.
I also think the Giant fans have a lot of PTSD because they watched Gettleman and Reese draft for the past few years, that everyone is scared about them drafting players like in the 3rd round or the 4th round, 2nd round. And they're like, well, we took guys in the second round, it means we're going to miss again. But that's not true. You got to trust the guys you hired. It's like I'm a Jet fan. It's like guys that like they don't want to take a franchise quarterback because they missed so many times, or we didn't want to take a receiver in the second round because we had so many draft busts in the second round. Well, they took Elijah Moore last year in the second round. He looks pretty good. So it's like you can't just draft with that philosophy that like, oh, we haven't been able to draft offensive linemen in the second or third round, so let's just pass them up and we have to take it in the first round. So if you guys trust your GM and your scouting department, they're going to find starters in the second, third, and fourth round.
I was watching tape the other day and I saw Billy Price fall over without being touched.
That's a talent.
That could also be coaching, also too.
Yeah, it's definitely some coaching.
This isn't NBA flopping skills. It's flopping drills, though, man. This is.
We've been bad. We've been bad at everything, man. Coaching. We already spoke about developing players. We've been terrible the last 6, 7, 8 years at developing
10 years,
players.
man.
Drafting has been horrible for not all, but for the most part.
We're averaging like one good draft pick every 3 years now, man. I mean, it's been. I mean, we thought, and Saquon was a stud the first 2 years. I like Saquon, man. I really do. But if he's got trade value too right now,
yeah.
Honestly, I don't want to see it. To me, if they have to get rid of the entire team to start over, do it. I don't want to see anybody go with some of these guys. But if they've got trade value and you can get draft picks from them, you can get guys who are expiring contracts or get good young players in return, do it. I hate to say it, man. There are no sacred cows anymore, guys. To me, the only guy who's untradeable now is Thomas.
There it goes
He's
again.
the only guy.
We go down that road of our quarterback. You can trade him as well if you don't want him.
This is the year.
I don't know if you're going to get much from him right now.
I mean, would you rather sacrifice 1 year and have like a future, like a good 10 years after that? Or would you rather just like, oh, I don't want to get rid of these players because I want to be decent next year. I can't lose again.
See, to me, you take the route that Detroit did. Detroit, they finally got on the ball the past 2 years in the draft. They lost 10 games this year by under 3 points.
Yeah.
They have probably they figure a top 5 ranked offensive line next year. And you know what? I think they're going to win 9 games next year. Maybe even
the Lions are a playoff team next year.
I think they're a playoff team next year as well. So to me, I would rather.
I like that.
You know what? Not tank, but get rid of all the extra crap you don't need. Have a really bad year. We know it's going to happen. Try and make some progress with the young guys. Get more draft picks and spend the next year to 2 years really bringing in the future.
Right.
And that's what we did for 2007. That's what we did for 2011.
Logan,
we're still there.
You want to hang out for a few minutes in the chat, but don't disappear. I'm going to bring you back because I know Slay's been hanging out forever back here. It's your boy, so I'm trying to get your guy in here. So.
I got you.
This year shouldn't be about wins and losses. It should be about developing players. It's kind of like, I know Miz is going to hate this comparison, but I'm a Jets fan. It wasn't ever about signing a bunch of free agents and calling a year. We started the most rookies in the year. It wasn't about wins and losses. It was about letting these players get their feet wet and play them without. And if you had a good year, so be it. If you had a bad year, it didn't matter because you were developing your young players.
I like your coach too, man. Your coach, I think you guys got the right coach finally too.
Yeah, I think so too. I hope so. And I feel like the Giants are in the same spot we were in last year, where it's like, you don't go nuts in free agency. Just do a bunch of 1 year contracts. And let all the rookies play. Don't worry about it. And if you know what, it's not about. I was going to be like, I can't.
You know what the problem is with that?
But it'll be different than last year.
The Giants owner is in defense mode right now. The Giants owner is in complete defense mode. He's worried about selling his season tickets. Year after year, the fans are disappearing out of the stands. I mean, you just can't rebuild here. It's just different.
Well, I think the other thing is they finally have realized they are no longer in the try and stay competitive mode anymore. I think Mara has finally waved the white flag, and that's why he finally hired from outside the organization and brought Shane in. That's where we've got Dable. I think he finally realized he has to just bite the bullet, and if they suck for a year, they really suck for a year until they start being competitive again. I'm not even saying playoff, just competitive again. And that's the thing. They have to have that identity.
All right, fellas. Well, I have to head out. Thank you for having me.
Adam, good seeing you, man.
I'm talk to you later. Thanks for coming on.
Corey, 2 hours after.
Guys, do a great job with all your channels.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right,
I think I heard
up to all these guys
also,
and just want to say bye.
That he he's like, I would love to. I forgot what it was, but it was on the lines of like, yeah, I would love to win and all this stuff. But it was like, I have to learn patience, and it's basically like, yeah, he's gonna be patient with this.
Gio,
And with the moves, whatever.
2 hours after they fire Joe Judge, they Mara sends out the season tickets notices to everybody. So
yeah,
he's at a point right now where he knows the fan base is fed up. They've had enough. I just feel like he feels pressure to win as many games as he can to try and get the fan base back with him.
You know what though? We know our fan base. Would you rather, if you can see on the horizon we're going to be competitive, I would be happy with losing, knowing we're on the right track, than trying to put a Band-Aid on things like we have for 7 years. Oh, we bring 1 or 2 free agents in and we get this right coach in, we're going to be great. No, I am so tired of this just treading water crap and going into quicksand and just getting deeper and deeper in the muck. To me, I would rather, like I said, I'm not calling it tanking. I want to just wipe the slate clean. That's what I want.
I get the feeling.
That's what they're about to mostly do. I mean, you do got some young players we just drafted in the last year or two that can be part of this. So
absolutely.
Yeah, if you're not going to be part of this future, then I don't need you to play this year. That's pretty much it.
I
think, like I said earlier today in my video, if anyone saw, we have names that we all, as Giant fans, right? We wanted to see them win with the team. Like, we don't want to just win. We want these guys to win. Guess what? That's over, man. Guys like Shepard got to go, man. It's just over. If you don't clean it out and you keep on hoping for things and you're going to keep on winning 4 games a year, that's what's going to happen. You got a new GM, new coaching staff, a new everything. They did things the right way this time. Now they get the keys to clean out and draft the team that they feel they want to build. And if any indications of what went on up in Buffalo, and I know he wasn't the GM, but he was part of it, then I'm going to trust them. I mean, we don't have a choice anyway. It has not been good anyway. So,
yeah, look, I would cut Shepard. I would cut James Bradbury. I would keep Blake Martinez. I would cut the entire offensive line except Andrew Thomas. Like, those are the players I want to cut Logan Ryan too.
What's going on,
Why cut Shane Lemieux? That don't make any sense. He's at least a good depth.
I was reading something that cutting Logan Thomas doesn't really save much, I think. But you could try it. If you could trade them, I mean, don't expect much back for some of these players. But if I could get all these players traded for like even 5th round picks, 6th round picks, I'm clearing cap space, but getting draft picks, I'm doing it.
I'm cutting Kyle Rudolph and Evan Ingram and Darius Slayton. Them 3 has to go.
But they're not on the field enough. They can't stay healthy. By the way, that's what I want to say. Man, good to see you guys.
Hey, what up?
Under contract.
He's a big fan of everybody's. He watches from across the pond, I believe. Tudo and
Tudo, my guy.
Everybody in this group. This guy is everybody's guy. He says, paying our respects for all the Giant fans around the world. And this guy really represents the meaning of Giant fan around the world. So,
yeah, and he definitely hates my team. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, everybody hates your team, Slay. Everybody.
You got a problem with Eagles fans? You send Tudo.
But you know what? You know what I like about Slay, though, man. Slay will give respect where respect is due. The same way we give respect to, if the Eagles had a tough win, some guy made a good play, we'll respect him. I got no problem with that, and that's the one thing, man. I've got nothing but respect for Slay because he at least comes in, he says the truth sometimes.
No, I respect
Slay. Not all the time, but he says the truth sometimes, so it's all right.
I say this about Slay, man. Slay showed me a lot the last few days with some things that have been going on. No need to go into it, but Slay reached out and shows me he's mature than anyone really thought. So
we got a bunch of good young kids here, man. We really do. I hate to say the word kids, man. Compared to me and you, they are. But I mean,
you come through big, Slay. And as far as the Eagles, I gotta admit something that I don't like admitting. I did root for the Eagles in that Patriots-Eagles Super Bowl. I can't lie.
I'm pretty sure we all rooted for the Eagles.
Like really for me, if it's an NFC East team in the Super Bowl, I'll root for them as long as it's not the Cowboys. Like,
thank you.
It depends on who you're playing. Like, let's say because Brady's not in the league anymore, if you guys play Patrick Mahomes in the future in a Super Bowl, I'm gonna be rooting for you guys because I hate the Chiefs now because Andy Reid, of course, but I love Andy Reid, but they're kind of getting into that dynasty mode, and I don't want that, but. Yeah,
That's why I like this year's Super Bowl, man. 2 brand new teams. I love this.
All right.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, I have a question for everybody. What was your overall thoughts on the Rams and Bengals Super Bowl that went down?
Damn good game. Wrong team won. I was rooting for, I'm sorry, I'm an LSU guy, so I was rooting for Burrow and Chase. But hey, it was a good, and I'm glad. I have a little respect for Detroit. I grew up. My parents were Detroit fans. They're from Michigan, so I was happy to see Stafford make it. You know what I mean? So I was happy to see him kind of get out of Detroit and win a Super Bowl. I mean, good for him.
Mhm.
But I mean, overall, it was nice to see two new teams there. I mean, so I had no problems with the teams that showed up, and I'm still. I mean, to me, the
Do the refs?
Bengals, it's a tough loss for them.
Yeah, Corey. Do the referees play the factor in that game towards the end?
I think so.
That was the main thing people was talking about.
Yeah, that you can make that argument, but there was a lot of calls that weren't called for the Rams' side too.
Yeah.
So it was more sort of like the refs. They made it even for both teams.
I gotta say, I think the refs called it down the middle pretty much.
Right.
They let some stuff go. They let some stuff get flagged. The one thing that killed them was the 15-yard penalties on the Bengals. Man, stopped a bunch of their drives.
Hey, Corey, it's where it all started when the Bengals got the interception.
I agree with authentic right there. That's a true statement right there. Sorry, I cut you off.
That's what I wanted to comment on.
Go ahead,
I completely
I spoke to
agree.
him earlier, so he knows. Go ahead.
I think if Odell Beckham doesn't get hurt, I think the Rams actually blow them out that game. I thought they were.
Not only that, I think Odell was in a zone, and I think that he might have put up. We might have seen one hell.
Yeah, I am not a big Beckham fan anymore.
Yo, Miz.
It was headed that way.
Yo, Miz. Before the game went down, I projected Odell to be the breakout player of the game. I was right till he got hurt, though.
Let me tell you something, man. He was headed for $150 and 2 touchdowns, man. And
he was.
Unfortunately, we spoke about this several months ago. The turf is a problem, and now players are starting to speak up about it all over the place.
Hey, guess what?
Now that major players are talking about it, we might get to change back the grass that we want.
Yes, please.
Somebody else is the Miz in the chat. What's going on, Miz?
Odell Beckham Jr. has matured a lot since his days with the Giants. I mean, obviously, he's gotten a lot more mature because last year there was a lot of times where he could complain with the Browns because he wasn't getting the ball a lot.
Wait. Who made his burner account?
Right, but he wasn't getting the ball. That's Logan. That's 1,000% Logan. No
that's
question.
Fine. It don't bother me, man. I know why you want to be me. I don't blame you if you want to be me. I get it.
I just personally feel like OBJ has matured enough to where now it's like, he won't make a fuss about too many things. I mean, there's probably here and there he might make a fuss, but he's matured a lot throughout the years. I mean, remember when he had that little issue with Josh Norman and those guys were brother for a whole entire game? So it's like for me right now, I just feel like OBJ has gotten out of that zone and he's gotten a lot older. And at some point, he's just understood that I got to go get that ring, and that's what I'm here for.
Hey, but here's another thing. I think Rams would have had over 30 some. They probably would have scored more points if they had Robert Woods and Tyler Higbee too.
Oh,
it's like when Odell got hurt, it slowed down their entire offense.
They had Cup, and that was it.
Well, that's what I'm trying. Yeah. That's what Bobby makes a comment, and if it's like.
Flores is
the
in the
Super Bowl was another example of how important an offensive line and defensive line. And I agree, but at the end of the day, the Rams almost lost that game because they didn't have enough receivers. So my new philosophy on building a team is get guys to help your young quarterback and get guys that go after your quarterback. You know what? I think you get by in this league with a bunch of average corners and safeties if you have a big time pass rush and a big-time offensive line.
If you've got crazy both sides, you're set.
You do need receivers, though, because the Rams were struggling because they were down
Buffalo
to just
Bills that.
Yeah. But look, if you're the Bengals, if you're the Bengals going to the draft, you need to draft offensive line. You see, passing up Penny Sewell worked out. Now, everyone line, you might be heading back.
The thing is, defense. They might be the juggernaut of the AFC next couple of years. I mean, it might just be them and the Bills. I personally believe the Bills were the best team in the AFC, and if they got the ball back, who knows? I think they were the best team in the AFC, and they would have beaten the Bengals in the AFC Championship game, in my opinion. Maybe
Luca knows my opinion. The Buffalo Bills should have been playing in the Super Bowl, but listen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But
I
let's
agree.
The Buffalo
listen.
Bills
Oh, yo,
should have made a
Miz.
stop in overtime and not cried about it. The Bengals made a
No, you're right about
wait,
that,
hold
but
on.
I'm just talking about in aspects of like it was the Bills' year. They were the team going into the playoffs and whatever.
Yo,
That game was
yeah.
kind of snatched away in some weird way from them. So
Oh, guess what? I actually got something for that. NFL next season or this season coming up, please change the overtime rules. Let both teams go at the 25
Yes.
score. Do it the college way, please.
No, they're not the
Everybody
college
wants
way.
it. Everybody
First
wants
off, the college
Coach
overtime is
Strabo
fun,
was in
man.
the chat. Yeah, go ahead.
I wouldn't go to college way. I would personally, if you're gonna change the overtime rules, I would make it each team gets possession, one possession each.
Yeah, each
And then
Nah, I don't
after
know
that,
about one possession because both teams
no,
could
but then
tie
it's
the
sudden
game
death
up.
after that.
We know how this goes.
No,
No, I think it
Jaden,
should
what
be
he's
a
saying
possession
is like
each.
one possession for both teams, and then let's see the first person to score, and then if that other team capitalizes, then
I
the
don't
game,
think that's fair.
keeps going.
It is fair though, because it's like
It is fair though.
it's a defensive game too. If your defense is so good, then make a stop. It's like
But the
I
thing
really don't have
You
a
can't
problem.
it's
keep
with
hard to
changing
make
the
a
rule.
stop. It's hard to get stops in overtime. It
You're
ain't
changing the rule in the NFL so much, man. It's like not
Everyone's
football
saying
anymore.
this.
Every year we're going to change the rules. Come on.
Yeah. Everyone's
Put
complaining
flags
about the
on their
overtime
hips.
rules, but the Bengals were able to stop the Chiefs in
For
overtime,
real.
and they wound up winning the game. So it's like, I don't know. If you want to change the overtime rules, the only thing I would change is instead of like, I think maybe each team should get a possession, but then I'd make it sudden death at that point because maybe the whole if a touchdown ends it, if each team gets a possession, maybe one. If say the opening drive, one guy scores a touchdown, say the next team scores a touchdown, and then after that, I think it should be sudden death after that. You kick the ball up to the original team that got the ball, and if they go down and score a field goal, it's over. Because you do have to play defense in this league also. You can't just you got to make a stop.
Yeah. Yeah, for the defense, I know but the defense can't be forever on the field. Like they can't like play defense for a long time either.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
that also proves who's the hungriest team to get into the Super Bowl. Like who was hungriest? Like no matter how long you play.
Wait, you mean hungrier?
The hungriest or whatever. Like it just doesn't matter. If you're hungry enough and you want to get to the Super Bowl, you have to understand that there's gonna be a lot of times where you might get into a shootout and your defense has to play some football at the very end there. You might get into a lot of those overtimes where your defense has to capitalize off of your offense, mistakes.
I meant not college, but they need to find a way to make sure both teams get a fair shot instead of one shot. Then I've never been a fan of it.
Yeah.
Hold on, we got Tudo, right? Big Boss, our entire team's watching your live show now. I'm not really understanding. I'm wondering your opinion, GOS, about future of the New York Giants boss.
Get your popcorn ready, I guess. I mean, it's going to be interesting one way or the other.
I'm missing out on what is he talking about, the coach or the GM?
Oh, he's saying just like the complete future of the Giants.
No. I mean,
I don't know. I got to call Miss Cleo.
At some point, you got to hit rock bottom and turn it up. I think last December was as rock bottom as it's going to get. So,
GOS, you should call Miss Cleo. That's awesome.
Hey, what up, Giant Opinion Sports? What up, man?
I think Giants got some talent. I think Giants got some. They got a new upper management and coaching, and I think that it's going to take a couple of years in drafts. And we'll have $93 million next year. We're going to keep Jones or not. We'll see. I have a feeling Barkley's not going to be here past half a season. You know what I mean? So I got a feeling that they're looking to shop Barkley. You might wait for him to play a few games, and if he stepped his game up, you might get a little more. So I think the Giants got to build this O-line and get another pass rusher, get back to getting a linebackers like we used to years ago.
Yeah,
really, it's the O-line. Corey, guys, 100%. It's really the O-line, man. We are missing the O-line desperately for years.
100%.
I'm interested to see what Martindale does with the blitzing, though, man, because he likes blitzing.
Logan, we saw you, Logan. We saw you.
Hold on. Corey's talking. Let Corey talk.
All of a sudden, I saw this big old shape behind me. It was Logan, but I'm interested to see what Martindale does with the blitzing next year because he's known for those blitz packages. But we got to have the guys who get to the quarterback too. There he is.
He loves that coverage.
Yeah, tell him to get back. I'm gonna switch him
For
back.
those of you who don't know, for those of you who don't know, Logan is my son. So most of you guys know, but
sorry, Cole.
I personally think I have a feeling the Giants they're gonna go offensive line, and I just feel like Devin Lloyd is like the perfect Wink Martindale defensive player. It kind of reminds me of
And there you go, Authentic. You can read it yourself, Authentic. It's right there. You're being requested. The link's in the chat, Authentic. You want to come in? I got Slay.
Yeah, I got 100% sub out. I mean,
not Slay, but Jaden. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Slay.
Nah, what do you mean? Like, what's the question?
No, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
I was saying, because like, if I have to go, then I got you, man. Especially
no, go ahead. You don't have to go. I mean, whoever goes in is in the chat. I'll bring him back in a few minutes. If Authentic wants to pop on, because the guys from across the pond, they're asking for him. But go ahead. You're on right now. Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I actually got to pop off for 5 minutes. I'll just hang out in the chat for a few minutes. I'll hang out in the back room. Why don't you bring somebody? If you got somebody else waiting to come on, pop me out for a few minutes, and I'll be back. And I'll still be back there. I'll be ready to go in 5.
Yeah, I mean, right now I don't have anyone
Authentic
waiting.
says he can't come on anyway.
Yeah, Authentic said he's busy at the moment. So.
Yeah. Well, Logan, come back in. Logan.
Yeah, bring Logan back. You get the 3 young guys.
Yeah, Logan.
All right, hold on. We have a special. I'm gonna pop you out, Slay. Hang around if you want to come back in. I know you'll swing around, but thanks for coming through. Appreciate the support.
I got you, man. I got you, bro.
All right, we got a special guy here, man. The brand new head coach of the New York Football Giants.
Oh boy!
Here comes a dick pic.
Mr. Double.
How's everybody doing? Right.
No. Yo, what's good, Brian Steve?
First, a few things here. Thank yous to John and Steve. Appreciate giving me this opportunity. Chris, who was involved in the interviews, Joe, and the support staff. Had a great.
Where are you from? South Carolina?
What it was a week, 10 days ago, and just very thankful and honored to be standing up here in this position. Thank the organizations that I've been part of, from ownership to management to coaches to support staff to players. I wouldn't be here without them. And then to my family, my wife, and my 6 kids. My
Miz, I think he's related to us, man, with the haircut.
The whole crew right there. You know, I love you guys.
This is what happens when you take too many bong hits in school and skip class too many times, young children.
Seriously, man, is that Zion or what?
I don't even know who.
Nah, Zion's working. So.
Oh, okay.
Who was that? You're lucky you didn't whip a dick out for real.
Yo, what's that name?
Well, I don't know who was. You know, somebody being a clown, but it's all good. It's cool, man. We don't mind. You want to play coach and come on the chat? We're good. I'll put you on.
Play coach like that. That's fun.
Yeah, that was pretty professional. I gotta give him credit. And he drove all the way to the chat in the snow from Buffalo. So yeah,
There you go.
But I'll tell you, man. If somehow, and I don't think this is happening, man. If you ask me to bet on it, I'm not betting on it. Let me bring Logan back. If somehow Thibodeau fell to 5, I'd be doing jumping jacks. So
let me clarify something. That was not me. That was not me.
Miz. And remember last time.
Hold on, Jay. And you got people out there that think he's overrated or he's not this, he's not that. Listen, we haven't had a real deal edge rusher here since what, JPP and before. Yeah. So for me, that guy's a real deal as it's been for the last 7 or 8 years. So
we haven't had one since O'Shane Zimenez.
I don't think it's not that he's overrated. I think he's getting the negative of not being Myles Garrett or Chase Young type of prospect. But I think he could be like a.
I think it's that
you guys used to get on me because I used to be crazy about Clowney, and he never really lived up to what he really was supposed to be.
Another part that who was talking? Buka, is that your name?
That's Chris Buka, yeah.
Chris Buka. Well, I think another big part of it is Aiden Hutchinson is such an insane high effort guy that kind of people kind of mark down Thibodeau a little bit too, because he isn't an effort guy like Aiden Hutchinson quite is. So
Hutchinson
that probably hurt the stock a little bit.
You know what the one thing?
You know what this is, right, Buka?
What? Yeah. You know
that.
The one thing that I wonder though is because around this time, 2 years ago, everyone was like, well, Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas was supposed to be the number 1 left tackle, and everyone was like, well, he's gonna be the last tackle that gets taken. And it's like, I wonder when it's all said and done if actually Thibodeau winds up still being the first edge rusher taken after the combine and everything, because everyone said Andrew Thomas, he's the best all year. He was the best offensive lineman, and then all of a sudden, like everyone would say, he's gonna fall. All these other guys are going before him. Willis is going before him. Wirfs is going before him. Beckton's going before him, and then Andrew Thomas still ended up going first out of all of them. So I wonder when it's all said and done if this is all just smoke and Thibodeau does if he blows up the combine, everyone's probably going to be talking about him again.
That's the thing, man. You'll see.
He's going to run a 4.4.
Some of these guys are going to roll right up the combine list, man. They're going to blow people away and say, all of a sudden, who was this guy? All of a sudden, he went from being a 3rd round to a 1st round pick. I was like, wait a minute.
The underwear Olympics.
The underwear Olympics, exactly.
Hey, I hope he runs a 4.6.
As far the Olympics that's on TV tonight, so.
Miz, we're losing you, but if
anybody's watched these Winter Olympics, man, they could put you right to sleep.
It's funny. I used to be into them probably 20 years ago. Now I could care less.
I said tonight to my fiance, I said, these Winter Olympics were freaking amazing. What happened?
Yeah.
Well, Dad, 20 years ago, you were about 70. So.
Dude.
Hey, you realize Miz is older than me by a year, right?
Hey, it's the one thing Giants do need a linebacker.
Don't make fun of the dad.
Hey, it was cool we saw Miz at linebacker.
You can see my hands are off my keyboard. That Brian Flores account is not me.
It's all right. It's the same guy. He's been doing this in all the streams. I know those guys, the other guys in the Big Blue crew are getting angry, but I told after a while, you just got to laugh. No big deal.
I don't know.
John,
let's
get Miz at linebacker.
I don't know. I feel like this offseason, I know it just ended, but I feel like it's already flying by because normally
it is, man. We're 3 weeks away from the draft.
Because I think we had the extra week, I guess, of the season, and then the Super Bowl got pushed back a week. And it's like the combine's next week, and then about 3 more weeks after, it's like free agency tampering period is March 14th. I feel like that's right around the corner. It's actually weird that the offseason's already flying.
Yo, Bobby, holy shit.
What did Afghanistan baby just say there?
He said, I'd rather saw my
jewels off with a butter knife than sit and watch the
Last night, I was trying to somehow muster up some excitement to watch Canada and U.S. women for the gold in hockey, which is like the only event I'll watch.
Who won that anyway?
Hockey. The Canadian girls won. They were up 3-1, and USA scored a last-second goal. But really, they won 3-1. The Canadian girls are amazing. They won the gold. But, man, even that, like, I could barely focus on the game. It's just not what it used to be at all, you know?
It used to be. I mean, the Olympics, you were growing up, man, there was can't-miss TV, man.
Go ahead, Steve. You can ask questions. We'll answer some questions now. Go ahead. Go ahead, Corey. Sorry,
Nice, Bobby.
I can't let Brian. Listen, I let Dabo on because we give him the benefit of the doubt. That's a New York coach, but I can't let Flores on because I've gotten in trouble here in the streams the last few days about Flores. So I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah, leave that one alone, man.
Don't let any of those troll accounts anymore because the last time I let one of those trolls on, we had a dick on stream. So
yep, that's what happens.
Hey, listen.
Oh wow.
Guys, go ahead, ask any question you want now. Answer some questions. I also wanted to Buko's a Jets fan, and I was saying that he should talk a little about the Jets, and because they have the 4th pick and the 10th pick, they have the 4th pick. I really feel like they're gonna take the guy we really want, which is Iquanu. I could be wrong, but whichever one of the two I'm thinking they're gonna get, we're probably gonna go with the other. But go ahead, Buko. What do you think the Jets are doing it for? It's your team. I know you know.
Personally, I think the Jets, and I think it's been said by the coaches and everything, it's going to be an off season of helping your young quarterback or getting after the other quarterback. So I think the Jets will be. I know everyone's assuming we're going after corners and safeties. I don't think that's happening in the first round. The beat reporters don't think it's happening. Solid comes from a defense where they get the corners in the later rounds and they develop them. It's all about the front four, getting pressure on the quarterback. It's the 49ers scheme, and that defense does not work unless you have edge rushers. Just like they were one of the worst defenses before they got Nick Bosa. Jets are terrible right now on defense because they don't have any edge rushers. Their guy, Carl Lawson, tore his Achilles. That was our number one edge rusher we got in free agency. Was gone. So
He was gone preseason, wasn't he?
Yep. So
Yep.
the defense does not work without edge rushers. So I know everyone's predicting this to take corner and a safety. Yeah, I don't think it's happening in the first round. Maybe Kyle Hamilton at 10. I don't see him at 4. Most likely, I would think they're going to go Aquanu if he's there. I heard that's the number one. That's the one offensive lineman they would take at 4. Or I think they're going to take an edge rusher.
I have a
That's why I would get mad at Buko when he tells me they're taking Aquanu.
Receiver might be a possibility at 10 for us, but I heard they're looking to see if they can get a receiver, whether it be free agency, via trade, veteran. But that's where I think they're going to wind up going. So I don't think they're going corner or safety. I think one of the defensive
linemen. I'll be honest, I hear a rumor, and I believe it, that the Jets could go Lindenbaum at 10.
I don't think they'll go center either because they already have a center that's actually pretty good. I think
my dream is Aquanu and Linderbaum for the Giants, but Linderbaum's too high. You can't take him at 7.
Yeah, you can.
Well, you can, man, but I'd trade back and take him around 13 or 14 is what I would do.
You want to run that wide zone, don't you, Corey?
Damn, Skippy.
Oh, Simone taking a shot at. Don't take that.
I actually started liking Charles Cross a lot. I think he's. I think he's the
Cross
best
is a
pure
beast,
pass.
Man. That guy is huge.
I think he's the best pure pass blocker.
So what does Cross do? Guard and tackle?
Just tackle.
He's a pure left tackle that can pass block. These other guys are more run blockers, and I just think Cross. I don't know. I would love if Cross was there at 10 and we go that way, take the edge rusher at 4.
Cross ain't gonna make the 10.
Yeah, he probably won't make it to 10, especially if the Panthers are desperate for offensive.
The Panthers are going to grab him, man.
Yeah, unless they go pick it. But
yep,
I don't know. I also
Speaking
think
of, I'm sorry,
Denver comes into play. I feel like if they can't get a quarterback either, because if they don't get one of these quarterbacks like Watson, even Jimmy Garoppolo, even though I hate him, or Aaron Rodgers, I think that's going to be one of the teams that might trade up to get a quarterback, and the Giants are looking. That might be the spot where people move up to, because you're gonna have the Panthers at 6, and supposedly they like Kenny Pickett. So if anyone wants to get Kenny Pickett, they got to jump the Panthers to get him.
I have a question for you guys. You think the Vikings move on from Kirk Cousins?
Yes.
Yeah, grab this question here from Steve Sabone, since that's connected to that. True rumors Jackson might go to the Buccaneers or Vikings. I don't know that.
I mean, I don't know, because he's probably gonna leave them a few weeks anyway. Everything he goes on, he finds a way to get cut.
I think he means Watson and
right, Watson.
That report, right. Yeah, and I don't think so. Watson's agent actually came out today and said that's not true at all. We're just trying to clear his name in the civil cases. So I don't think there's actually any legit teams right now that we know that are interested in him. I know the Buccaneers said they were sniffing around him if Brady doesn't come back.
Mm-hmm. But for the Giants, we definitely need to take O-line 5 or 7. We don't have a choice.
We need an edge rusher.
True.
But they have to get O-line. At least one of the two has to be O-line.
Yeah, if not, I'm going to be really heated.
And to me, it's either Cross or Aquanu. It's probably one of the two.
Yeah.
Yes, please. I'm tired of offensive line being ranked last every year. It's frustrating.
To me, I want to make the jump to mid to low teens next year, and the year after that, you can jump up again to be top 10 if you draft the right guys. I don't care if they're young. If they're skilled, you'll probably be low teens, like 17, 18, 19 in there somewhere.
But I think,
go ahead.
But I think in order to be really decent, we need good ownership. That's something we haven't had in a long time.
No, we haven't.
Bad ownership just cost everything.
I know a lot of Giant fans also want Lindenbaum also, but a bad move for you guys may not be. Let's say you do go double up on offensive line in the first round. Let's say you get a Aquanu with 5, and then somehow you could trade the 7th pick down a little bit, maybe into the early.
Yeah, I'm down with it.
13, 14 range, 15. Honestly, I think no one's talking about him right now, but I'm sure they will. I think Kenyon Green, the guard from what is he from? Is it Texas A&M or Mississippi State?
Logan knows about him.
Texas A&M. He's probably
Kenyon Green.
he's probably the best guard in this draft. If you could get Aquanu, put him at right tackle, and you got your bookend tackles and Andrew Thomas and Aquanu, and then you could put Green next to Andrew Thomas, and now your left guard and your left tackle are set for the next 10 years. I don't think that's a bad move either, because he's probably the best guard in this draft, and no one's even talking about him right now because we haven't gotten to the combine or anything.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. I would still go get another one in the third round. I'll be honest with you. I'd get another one in the third, man. I'm not.
To me, you load up, man. Load up. I mean, if you can load up on 3 or 4 guys in the first 3 rounds, 2 of them hit, you're set.
Yeah. Yeah, but when we get to the third round, I really want Brandon Smith. That's the linebacker I'm looking for.
He's not making it there.
The Penn State guy, yeah, he's good.
Remember who our defensive coordinator is now? Who said something about Linderbaum?
I did.
I don't want Linderbaum unless we get Aquanu. That's the only. That's
man, to me, you get them both. You either get Cross and Linderbaum, or you get Aquanu and Linderbaum. I want them both.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like
you need Aquanu to come with them so we can start running that wide zone properly.
Yeah, that's what I said, man. You said that you want to run the wide zone. Damn, Skippy, I want to run that big time.
Yep. So you want Saquon back next year, then?
I'll tell you what, man. To me, you start off with Saquon, and I think Miz said it. If he shows some promise, and then you either build it, you either keep building and keep going, or 2, if you have to trade him, you trade him. I mean, because then his trade value is going to go up too. I mean, I don't want to lose Saquon because I like the guy a lot, but I don't know if he is. I don't know if he's the guy anymore. I hope he is, but I don't know if he is. Plus, on top of that, I don't want to pay a running back that kind of money.
Yeah, and I agree.
Hey, yo, Corey, have y'all noticed every time the Giants was winning, we didn't have like the best running backs. We just had running back who could produce on the field.
Exactly. I want a guy who can run downhill, get positive. Even when he was tackled for a short gain, it's positive yardage. I don't like. Man, I was a huge Barry Sanders fan. I like the guys who can run everywhere. But to me, it's all about keeping the ball positive yardage. And this tiptoeing junk, don't get me wrong, man. Saquon has the talent to be he can run. He used to be able to rip off 200 yards a game for all-purpose yards no matter what. I don't know if he can even do that again anymore. But to me, I'd rather have a guy who gets 75 yards a game and can be positive yardage. Give me 100 yards a game of total offense, scrimmage yards, and can be a hell of a run blocker too. Could be a hell of a pass blocker too. I want a guy in there who could be a pass blocker. I don't want to have to load up on double tight end sets, which takes away from wide receivers when you can have a running back doing the same damn thing. I mean, it opens up the passing game more if you can have a running back who can actually block too. So, I mean, I know it's asking a lot, guys, but I mean, this is fundamentals. You've got to know how to block. You've got to know, even if you're a run blocking stud, you've got to be able to do decent pass blocking or vice versa. You've got to have tight ends who can go in motion, catch a pass or block, and your running back has to block. To me, you win your battles in the trenches. Bottom line.
You know, Cole, you know who would have gave this guy all that? You know who would have developed Barkley into everything? Tom Coughlin.
Yep, you're right.
He did running backs the best, man.
I thought you were going to say Josh McDaniels.
Tiki was on the road to being out of here before Coughlin. And we all know, you guys all know my feelings on Tiki. Get out. I'm sorry, the guy pisses me off. I'm tired of him. But you know what? When he was with us, the guy is a borderline Hall of Famer.
He has more yards and touchdowns than Terrell Davis.
Yes, he does.
I think
if he didn't burn his bridges, he'd probably be in by now.
Well, you guys are a little bit older. You remember we had a really good. We didn't have Snee had a few Pro Bowls, but when Kareem came over, them guys played together for a long time. That O line worked so
4
good
years
run the ball.
I think over 4 years. I think out of the 5 guys, I think there was a total of 4 missed games in 5 years between those 5 guys. There was no injuries, and they had consistency. They had chemistry. Those guys, O'Hara, Snee. I mean, they knew what the McKenzie.
Deal.
They knew what the other guys would deal. I love Deal and Snee were my favorite.
Seibert was there for a little bit with him too.
Rich Seibert was awesome. Those guys. I mean, I go back to the
little Big Benny in the house. Little Big Benny in the house. Yeah, go ahead.
What's up, Benny?
Maybe that's how I feel about running backs.
Yo, what's good, Benny?
I think you can get a running back in any round, and I don't believe in paying running backs. because if you look at any of the top running backs that wind up getting paid, they don't last. Christian McCaffrey got a contract; he's always hurt now. Zeke Elliott.
Really, the last guy, Buko, I'm sorry, man. I think the last guy who actually earned his money as an every down running back who never got hurt was Curtis Martin. I mean, he was the one. I mean, he never got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell me you're getting a running back for $7-8 million, okay, but to pay a running back 13, 14, 15 million, I just don't see the value in it.
And they're saying Tiki can be worth 14, 15. Shut up, Logan.
Curtis started off slow every year, though, didn't he? Like he didn't even start running good till like second half of the season. Most of his career.
I rather.
Maybe I'm wrong, man. I feel like listen. I know we're not. I really feel like it's 90%. We're not keeping Barkley because we need to rebuild the team, and he's a big valuable. It could be a valuable piece for us to get something, but and when I'm 100%, we're not paying the guy. That's the biggest part of it. But
yeah,
the thing is, do you think in the second half of this season, where he had probably the worst line we've ever seen, that he learned how to run physically downhill and pick up 3 or 4 yards? Because it looked like he was getting better at that.
For Chicago, yeah.
No, a lot of games down the stretch, he was grinding it out, and maybe that will make him better for when we do have a line. But again, the money situation is like we're not paying the guy. I'm almost sure of it. So, I understand there's probably no point even talking about it. I just feel like having a horrible line in the last year might have prepared him to be that downhill runner we're talking about that he wasn't doing the first 2 years or so.
Yeah. Well, Miz, what do you think you can get for him right now? Because if you can only get a third, you're once he leaves and trade, say you just let him walk, you're probably going to get a third round comp pick. So I mean, if you're only getting a third now, you might as well bring him back one more year, and then that gives you added value to Daniel Jones. So if you really want to see what Daniel Jones is, Saquon's going to give him, if he's healthy, he's going to give him a lot of help in the passing game and all that, and obviously being able to run. But so if you're only going to get a third from this year,
I would like to see them both play behind a real line. I really would love to see them play 1 year behind a line.
Well, I feel like there's multiple things you could do with Barkley, though. You could keep him. You could trade him at the trade deadline to a contender if someone gets an injury. But also, what happens if let's say everyone's like, oh, we're only getting a third round for him. But what happens if there's a player that's falling in the draft that you really like, and you could package a draft player plus Barkley to move up to get that player? You could also go that route too. So it's like, I don't think there's just one specific thing like, oh, I'm just going to get a third for him. I don't think anyone knows what they can get for him, to be honest, until we start hearing rumors.
Well, you got to find a trade partner, and then you got to pay him next year, man.
Yeah. That's
maybe someone
like Buffalo. He's a close friend of ours out here in Staten Island. Actually, he lives in the gym with us, but he's cool. He came on today for the first time. Thank you for joining the stream, Nick. It means a lot. Go ahead, get that question. Buko, Corey.
If you limited the player to a 1-year deal to a year, would you get better performance out of them?
Depends on the player.
I don't think people are just going to sign for 1 year, but I think players that are in it for the money, you'll get the best out of them. But players that love football will, no matter how many years they get under contract, they're going to play. It's the guys that don't love football those are the guys that cause you the issue. So I don't know, Corey, if you want to take that, go ahead.
No, I don't know, man. I mean, the problem is, first off, that would never fly. If that became a standard, forget about it. The NFL Players Association is not going to tolerate it. I mean, long-term contracts, guaranteed money. I can see doing 1-year deals on like veteran minimums here and there. Instead of bringing guys in for 2-3 years, bring them on a veteran minimum for 1 year, even give a veteran minimum for $500K. I can see that. Some people it will motivate them, especially guys coming back from, I wouldn't say not bad years, but subpar years. I could see that being a good motivation tool. But I mean, look, man, you guys know that Leo has had a nice 2 years with us. But Leo always plays awesome in contract years. Leo had a nice year last year, and I think half the reason he had a down year is because he lost the rest of his defensive tackles who play with him.
I mean, he was graded as the 4th best interior lineman in the NFL.
I agree, and he did have a good year.
He just missing.
He had no help.
Corey, we're missing for Leonard Williams. He just needs that Dalvin Thompson replacement. That's the only thing that's left.
He needs a partner on that line. Is what he needs.
But that's always been the story of Leonard Williams.
But 1-2 punch combo.
That's
Oh,
been
we
the
got a
story of
salty
Leonard
Jets
Williams'
fan in
career.
here.
That he
Yeah.
no, it's always been the story of his career though. It's like he never has that edge rusher next to him where he could take the next step. He never has this. It's like I get that, but there comes a time where it's like you got to beat your double teams. And like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
I
think there's
feel
a
like
lot
it's
of hidden
always.
value in Leonard Williams, though.
I think he's
there
a
is.
really listen. I think he's a really good player. I just don't think he's a great player, but I think he's a really good player.
I
I don't
think
think he
he
ever
is
lived up to the
a.
hype of being that top 5 pick that everyone thought he was going to be. But I think he's a really good player. I don't think that's an insult. I just don't think he's like that.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
agree
he's
with that. He will not be an Aaron Donald. He will not be.
Well,
exactly.
that's what separates the goods from the greats. Aaron Donald has the skill set to beat those doubles and triple teams. Leonard Williams will always need that other guy next to him in order to be elite like last year.
But he's a
Aaron
good
Donald's
player.
one of the best players ever to live. I mean,
Yeah, let's
kind
the
of
guy's built like a tree trunk. For
kind of
God's sake.
unfair to put him up against him.
Yeah, but someone like even Chris Jones, I think I'd rather have Chris Jones over Leonard Williams.
Yeah, I agree
But
with that.
I'm not saying that Leonard Williams is bad either. I think he's probably a top 10 defensive tackle.
I'll keep him around.
Oh yeah,
I
well,
like
number
him.
one, you have to because he's making that kind of money. To me, based on I hate to say it, but based on the market value that's out there for defensive tackles, he's worth the money. Like you said, there's intangibles out there you're not going to see in a stat line because the guy does take up the whole center of the damn line. You can run him off the edge on occasion. I mean, he is good. He's going to get pressure. He's not always going to get there. Now, I'm curious to see what Martindale does with him next year because if you start running blitz packages with him and guys around him, they're going to free him up to do a lot of damage. I think he could really take off next year.
Leonard Williams is a
I have
top
to say about
10 pressure guy every year. Top 10 in the NFL pressure guy in the NFL. A lot of them plays turn into interceptions, rushed plays, dead plays, turnovers. They turn into punts. So I stick to there is a lot of extra value that you don't really see when you watch Leonard Williams.
Yeah, you see it in the tape. You don't see it in the stat line. That's the bottom line.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The one thing about Leonard Williams also, though, I'll give him credit for it. He doesn't miss games, and that goes a long way also.
The guy, he's always there. Hurt or not, he's always. This year, Logan, how much was he hurt this year? What did
he played with a dislocated left elbow.
Yeah.
He missed one game.
Last 3 weeks.
Yeah, we thought he broke his arm or leg, and he came back and played the next week. So
he put a brace on it and shot him with painkillers.
I heard he was supposed to be out for a month.
How much more money is Donald making than Leonard Williams' authentic ask? I really don't know.
I think $7 million.
So it depends. I mean, I would have to look up his contract, but I
look
believe.
it up right now, guys.
I mean, I think he made he's not making crazy amount of money, Aaron Donald, to be honest.
Well, it depends on. Well, remember, Leonard Williams is in the front of his contract. If Donald's towards the end, you're going to get them cheap years on the end. So
yeah,
it all depends on when they re-up. That's the way you got to look at it.
That's another thing, man. Another media has to hype up the Super Bowl more than just the Super Bowl by adding that, Donald might retire tonight. So this is unbelievable. He's not retiring, man. He's not even thinking about retiring. It's crap. And I know some Giant fans have given up on Dexter Lawrence, but I don't. I actually like the guy a lot, to be honest.
He gets held a ton, Miz. He gets held all the time and don't get calls. I can't remember. I heard a stat that he has the same amount of pressures as Leonard Williams this year, the quarterback pressures or something. It was insane what I'd read.
I love the guy, man. I think the guy's like we said, you get a real. If we are able to get a real edge rusher in the top of this draft, if we're lucky enough to get one, you will really see what Dexter and Leo could do. And then you could have Aziz on the other side. I know we're not a 4-3, but you know where I'm going. Aziz had a nice year, but I'll be honest with you, man. Aziz is not that edge rusher that scares teams into changing their game plan,
Just so you know,
if you get enough people on the line, get them one-on-ones. I think you can produce for you down the road.
Sorry, guys, just so you know, what's his name? Aaron Donald. Next year's base salary is $9.25 with a signing bonus of $8 million, and his bonuses are up to another $9 million. So he'd be a total of up to $26 million in cap space hit next year. That's how much Leonard Williams is making next year. Not Leonard Williams. Aaron Donald is making. Aaron Donald, yeah.
So they're about the same then, cap hit.
They're very similar, yeah. And that's the thing. If he's only got 2 years on his contract, he's already hinting that his next contract he wants to get extended He's looking for $150 million contract. Is what he's looking for. Right now, he's on a 6-year. Right now, he's on a 6-year, 135. There's rumors he wants a 5-year, 150.
30 million.
Damn.
Oof.
I'm like, but these football players are rich enough. Jeez.
Yeah,
I know,
you know
man.
what?
See,
The
that's
I'll
cap's
the
take
going
it.
problem.
up.
I
and
can't.
the-
Yeah, you can't
the
pass him on
owners-
that bag.
The owners
Listen,
still
man,
are
he's
the
setting
ones
up
that
his
make the
children's
most money.
children. Let him make his money.
Oh yeah.
With this economy
You talking
nowadays,
about,
make it.
Donald?
Make what you can.
Trust me, Aaron Donald earned that money.
Dude, you
Oh,
let
yeah,
Donald
he did.
play every single year. I don't care what the hit is. Are you crazy? That guy, he should have won MVP of that game in my eyes. He
Yeah.
shut that game down when it needed to be shut down.
He ended that game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
but for me, I feel like Cup's the MVP because he set up for Aaron Donald to be good on defense.
Well, here's the
Because
thing with that.
without Cooper Cup, this offense goes nowhere.
Well, here's the
No,
thing
no,
with
no,
that
no.
last play of the game on 4th and 1. If you look at the tape, Aaron Donald was offsides.
Oh,
Wait. Speaking of the tape, Jalen Ramsey got burnt by Jamal Chase.
Yeah, he
That
did
was
on the
not
field.
offside. The only time they call that offsides if the fingers are near the ball but nobody's moving, they let it go. The only time they call that is if it's the Giants. Then the Giants are offside.
so
Yeah,
that's what
because we got
happens.
called that with Dexter Lawrence.
Right.
Well,
So
think about it, guys. You get penalties called on you based on how your team is. If you are a Super Bowl
Yeah.
caliber team, you will get more calls than not. And
Yep.
whether or not he was literally a split second offsides or not doesn't matter, because he's also probably one of the best at jumping the snap in the league.
I actually thought the refs did a great job in the playoffs this year as far as calling
They
flags and
did.
stuff. I
There
thought
were
like,
no major snafus.
especially the Chiefs Bills games. That I like when they let them play and they'll call all these ridiculous flags.
Yeah.
Look, authentic man, I agree with you, but like you said, we found out he's not over based on market value. He's not. It's tough because I just looked at it. I looked at the top defensive tackle contacts that are out there. He's just in the top 10. He's not overpriced, and you're right.
Yeah, we were paying a quarterback.
He is.
Slay,
Yeah.
you want to look at the tape again?
Yeah,
We're not paying a quarterback right now, so why not? It's a nice luxury to have if you're not paying a quarterback $40 million a year.
Exactly.
Yeah, by the way, Slay, Ramsey gave up 150 receiving yards.
It's
He
just
was
like
he was
everyone
low. He was
says-
actually getting exposed. But with the T Higgins one, that shouldn't have been offense pass interference.
Nah, he uses momentum against him. I like that.
What?
Tell you what, though, you guys want to laugh. You should have seen Logan here during the Super Bowl. He's going to get 2 picks. Where's Boyd? He's going to get 2 picks.
I said Jesse Bates, not
Oh,
Boyd.
Jesse
Boyd's a
Bates. I'm
receiver.
sorry, Jesse Bates. He was rooting the whole time. Every time there was a pick, tell me that was Bates. Tell me that was Bates. You guys would have loved watching him during the Super Bowl, man. It was hilarious.
I should have put $20 on that.
Jesse Bates is a free agent this year.
Oh, he is?
Is he really?
Yeah.
Giants.
Yep.
Ooh, maybe we don't need Hamilton.
I know a bunch of them because a lot of people keep predicting that the Jets are gonna draft a safety at far.
He's going to get
overall, but
franchise tagged. The Bengals have money. He's going to get franchise
I
tagged.
know Bates will probably stay, but the free agency class for safeties is really deep, and there's gonna be a bunch of guys that hit free agency.
Telling you
Hey,
right now,
Miz,
the
I hate
Jets
to do
are.
this to you, man. I actually got a hot man. If we're getting a little late, I got some stuff I got to take care of tonight, man. But this was a lot of fun, man.
thanks for
I'm
coming
definitely
on.
coming back to the next
We're
one.
doing our streams together, so it's not even
Definitely,
coming
man.
on. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I got to run too, Miz. I got 15% battery here. Just hit me.
No problem. Thanks for joining. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
It was good to talk to you
Yeah.
finally, Corey. Nice to meet you.
You too,
Yeah,
man.
Corey, nice talking to you.
Luco, good seeing you, man.
We'll do more
Hey,
stuff
I'll
as we
talk
get
to you
closer
next
to
time,
the draft, of course. All right.
Definitely, guys.
Yeah.
Telling you right now, the Jets and Lions are playoff contenders next year.
I'll take 8 wins.
I'm going at 7.
I'll take 7 to 8 at this point.
Talk about the Jets. Yeah, I gave the Jets like a week ago. I said a week ago. I think the Jets can win and will win 8 games. They will, not can. I think they'll win 8 games.
It's all
Steve,
going to
the
depend
draft
on.
is April 28th.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the draft is April. You got the combines March 3rd through March 6th, which is big for these players and something that we all like watching. What's going on, Eagles Uncensored? How you doing? Calling if you'd like to come in. Thanks for coming in. Let me bring in, I think, Slay's waiting. What's up, Slay?
Hey, what up, bro?
I gotta be honest though. If I honestly wish I was in the position of the Eagles, where I actually prefer how many picks, where the Eagles draft picks are, to compared to where the Jets and the Giants draft picks are. I know that sounds terrible, but it's like I think this draft is better off at the end of the first in the top 10, and I would prefer to have 3 first-round picks that the Eagles have than our first 2 picks. Just my opinion.
So I just wanted to come on right quick because I heard Jaden say Ramsey got torched or burnt by Chase, which clearly is not the case.
What?
And I heard someone and I think it was Logan say he gave up over 151 yards or 150 yards. Right? I'll call it down the line. A touchdown is a touchdown, even if T. Higgins grabbed him on the face mask or whatnot. He still scored the touchdown. But either way, I still feel like people saying Chase absolutely torched Ramsey. I don't agree with that, because if you look at the entire film of just those two matching up, whenever you went and seen that those slants, Chase did not beat him there. Ramsey was right there with him whenever they were going on those little slant routes. And those corner routes, Ramsey was there too. The only time Chase beat Ramsey was the only time was like those deep balls. Those deep balls is something that confuses Ramsey. He's not good stopping those deep balls. It's the deep balls and that one little stutter step that he had on the sideline, next to the sideline. That's the only time he beat him. Other than that, Ramsey held his own against Chase. So
yeah, Ramsey had a little bit of a. I'm not saying he got burned, but he had tough times in that game.
He gave up 162 yards.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
one of those he got away with, and I think it's because of the Super Bowl. He got the flags.
All right,
put
so
the flags away in the Super Bowl, but the guy did grab his mask and swing him out of the way when he caught the bomb.
Right, and that probably would have been the ball would have been batted down if he never face masked him. So we'll call it down.
If James Bradbury gave up 160 yards, you'd be mocking us every single day. I don't want to hear about it.
I understand that, but if you had the same things that he was getting in that game, I would still make the same excuses for him, because I hate making excuses. But let's call it down the line. Chase did not completely torch him, and T. Higgins had like one good play on him.
Yeah,
Slate is all I'm saying. On 4th and 1, you clearly see Ramsey was clearly burnt. He fell. If Burrow would have seen it, if the offensive line would have been blocking, Burrow's throwing that deep every time.
No, Adam,
he's been doing that for the whole season.
Adam, I'm not saying if I know it would have been batted down. I'm just making a statement as if it could be batted down. I think that was one of the like options. Either it was batted down or it was caught, and it would have been down to like the 30 or 20 yard line. That's the 2 options right now.
Yeah,
but
let's be fair though. Like, other than the Bengals really didn't do much on offense, other than that one big play, and you can make the argument that was face mask on Ramsey. And then on top of it, Ramsey did save a touchdown also at one point, because that the first when the Bengals kicked that field goal, I think it was their first drive they scored, like. That ball was almost completed. It got knocked away by Ramsey. He saved that touchdown. So it's not like the Bengals gave us the scoreboard. That one giant play was basically their highlight of the Super Bowl.
On that final play of the game on 4th and 1, when Donald penetrated through the line, Burrow got that ball off, and it hit the hands of Samaje Perine. If he catches that pass, the Bengals might win.
Well, but here's the thing. Speaking of 4th and 1, why Joe Mixon not on the field?
I agree with that statement. I just feel like people, because Jalen Ramsey is the best corner in the game, a lot of people want to give slack for him for having 1 bad or 2 bad plays against 2 really good receivers that he actually stopped for most of that game. Like, for the better part of that game, Chase was not doing anything on Ramsey.
Guess what? Chase was cooking Ramsey where it mattered the most, right?
When it mattered the most, Ramsey still held his own.
I'm talking about towards the end when Ramsey gave up that deep route. You lucky Chase didn't even get a chance to catch it.
Yeah, but Ramsey still had his held his own at the very end there.
All right, let's just change the subject because Slay is apparently Jalen Ramsey's boyfriend, and it's all you're gonna do.
Oh wait, what? Oh wow.
I can't make an argument for the best corner in the game when
He's not the best corner in the game.
Well, who is then? Who is?
AJ Terrell.
That's so false. It's not even funny. Yeah, one
corner in the
Yeah, it's just stop.
He had one good year, and everyone wants to call him great. Like, I understand he's good, but don't be throwing him.
Slay, there's a thing called sarcasm, buddy.
Jesus.
Yes, well, guess what? We all know who the best corner is. Jair.
I mean, JC Jackson's pretty good, but I don't know what he looks like out of New England.
Nah, AJ Terrell is a dog. He's a good player.
I remember at the end of last season, some Giants fans were trying to make a debate that Bradbury was the best corner in the game.
No, he had a real good year, but never thought he was the best corner in the league. Ramsey's the best corner right now. Ramsey's the best corner in the league. Is Ramsey even close to a Darrell Revis? Not even close.
No.
Revis.
You want to compare the best to the best, So
yeah. No. What about Jair Alexander?
He's not better than Ramsey.
No.
Jair Alexander was injured for like all of last season.
Yeah, he's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. Top 3 corner in this league.
I think Ramsey. I don't think Ramsey's the best.
Right there, you see, guys, that Mac comes up with a good point before he bounces out.
Right. He understands.
Yeah.
Pass interference. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but everybody likes to take that out because of the Cooper Kupp getting held by the linebacker and Eli Apple 3 times.
A lot of things factor into that game, man. But to me, the entire game changed when Odell got hurt.
Yeah,
it took momentum at his.
It's that turf. It's that turf.
It's just the Rams had to go to a real conservative offense, try to survive the game, and we will live to try to score at the end, which they did. So you give them credit, but they had to come out of there. They had no B plan on offense once Odell went down.
But it is one thing we got to give credit. I got to give credit to the Bengals defensive line for stopping the run the entire game. I got to give them credit. The Bengals D line was good to me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've said it literally in the entire year. They are a top 5, top 10 defense in this league.
Well, it's the same thing with the Rams. Because the Rams had how many sacks they had? Like 8, 7?
Yeah, but what you have to understand is that the Bengals defense is going to be here for the next better part of the next 10 years.
We could say that,
or maybe or
injuries come into play, and just like
that. Yeah, I understand.
We know how
I understand. Yeah,
Joe Burrow is so good, but for all we know, he never goes to a Super Bowl again. That's how the league is, Like,
yeah, Slay, or the Bengals defense can be a 1 year wonder, a one and done team. You never know what the future holds.
I mean, Burrow ruins his knee again, and they never see a Super Bowl again. It's just how the league works. It's like Dan Marino was a great quarterback, and he went to a Super Bowl, and he never went back to a Super Bowl. It's just
pull up
Jeff's
comment right quick, Miss. Pull up Jeff's comment. I want to answer that. Yeah, that comment. So Jimmy G or Russ. Now, Jimmy G, for some odd reason, he's a quarterback that the Eagles have been linked to ever since the Niners said that Trey Lance was going to be their quarterback of the future. I don't understand that. That makes literally no sense. You're getting a rental, I guess, and then you're trying to go after a quarterback in the future. That makes no sense.
I don't see it.
You're basically trying to copy them. I would go after Russ out of those 2 quarterbacks, but
yeah, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo fits y'all style of y'all playbook.
I still don't.
Anyway.
I don't.
He doesn't even fit with the Eagles.
I think Jimmy G ends up. I think Jimmy G ends up in Denver, Washington,
Titans, possibly.
or the Colts.
Titans.
He feels to me like a real good fit at this moment with Washington.
Yeah, Washington, maybe the Colts, because they're getting rid of Wentz, so they need a quarterback. Denver needs a quarterback. I don't see one opinion.
Sub up to opinion if you haven't. This guy makes some legitly great videos during the day, man.
I could see Russell Wilson on the Eagles, so I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happens, but I could see that.
Right. I don't know. I'm starting to think there's a chance that Russell Wilson ends up staying in Seattle, man. I mean, can I be wrong? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a possibility also.
And I never thought, you know me, Puko. I never ever, even last year, the whole last, I still never think right now Rodgers is not leaving Green Bay. I totally believe that he's staying right where he is.
To be honest, as a Giant fan, you guys should want all these quarterbacks to stay because it's like eventually there's not enough quarterbacks to go around the league. These teams are going to get desperate and trade up. I think Rodgers stays in Green Bay, so that takes away one of the Denver guys. It's like if Denver strikes out on a bunch of these quarterbacks, it's like they're going to have to go get a quarterback. And I know that. So it's like I don't want any of these quarterbacks to leave if I'm a Giants fan. Let them stay where they are, and then it's like they're going to have to trade up to go get a rookie.
Well, like I said before, like the way I'm loyal to Jones, and I would love for him to be the franchise guy, but I'm not stupid. And so the thing is, I really believe, like if take your heart out of it, and you ask me to bet on something, I would tell you Daniel Jones. They're saying all the right things to do the right thing, but really, I believe this coaching and GM, that Jones is going to be the 1-year gap quarterback. And the Giants are going to go to draft a quarterback in 23. I totally believe that.
Yeah, no matter what,
most
Daniel
likely,
Jones is.
Unless he has a really good year. Maybe he surprises people and he winds up being the answer. But for the most part, he'll probably be the bridge quarterback. And maybe he does have a breakout year and you don't have to worry. Maybe he could be like depends what everyone's looking for. I mean, maybe he could be a Ryan Tannehill type quarterback, you know?
Yeah, but I believe, Abuko, I believe also that even if Jones had a year, like even if Jones had a 30 touchdown year, won 10 games, and the Giants went to the playoffs, they still would be very hesitant to pay him.
Well, I think you don't pick up his 5th-year option. You don't pay him. You just tag him again and prove it to me that you could do it another year in a row.
Right. That's what I would do, man. At the end of the day, this is a business. So, I mean, I know GOP's huge on Jones. I know he believes Jones is going to be the guy, and a part of me believes that too. But when you think with your mind, you have to just, that money's a thing. You know that we're going to build a new team. And you know that there's a class of quarterbacks coming out in 2023. You know that's in the back of your head. So, again, I don't want any QB in this draft. I just don't. Just pass up on the QBs and build what you got to build, which is the trenches. Put a team together.
Oh, yeah. I just think right out with Jones, I would sign Mitchell Trubisky as a free agent and call it a day and then wait till the following year.
Right. I mean, you got to I don't mention any names. You got some guys out there that I don't know how you could love Jimmy G. I just don't understand what you're watching. No, for real. I gotta be honest, man. I don't bring it up. I don't say it in the other streams. You got to irk me in order to get me going. But what are you watching when you watch Jimmy G? I seen this guy. Let's be honest. Jimmy G has cost the Niners 2 rings in the last 3 years. Potentially.
That's big time for sure. That's big time.
Yeah, man. That's huge. You don't get the opportunity. You don't get the chance to go to Super Bowls often. Even if you think you're great, your window could close real fast. Take a look at Kansas City. They haven't gone back-to-back years now. That's how hard it is to go. They are loaded, and they haven't gone back-to-back years. You had a chance to win 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, and I could sit here and tell you the entire team would have won you a championship, but your quarterback blew both chances. And that's a fact.
I mean, I'm not the biggest Daniel Jones fan, but if you just swapped out Daniel Jones from Jimmy Garoppolo, you put Jimmy Garoppolo on the Giants and Daniel Jones on the 49ers, it's like who's still winning more games when it's all said and done? Probably the 49ers. They'd probably be in the same spot they're in.
Right. I'm telling you right now, if you put Daniel Jones on the Niners, that team might be really dangerous because Daniel Jones, as much as I hate the guy and he sucks, like when in crucial situations, he will be good in the Niners system because he's got a really good arm down the field. And if Shanahan can work with Jimmy G, he can damn sure work with freaking Daniel Jones.
Well, I do agree with that because the one thing I will say about Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers offense is they make an average quarterback look good. That offense is that system is catered to make quarterbacks look good. That's where you guys had like C.J. Beathard and Nick Mullins look pretty capable and decent. It's that offense that's run. It's catered to the quarterback to make it easier on them. So yeah, that's why I believe that before the Giants were hiring a coach and stuff, I thought that maybe like Daniel Jones would be a perfect fit for like a Niners type offense, Shanahan type offense.
He would be perfect in the Ram system with what's his name?
No, I think he'd be perfect with the Niners. I think that's the perfect team for him. You got a loaded front offensive line. You got a physical running game, play action, and a big tight end down the field. And the other team, you would be good because you would ask him to only be a game manager, and he has a big arm. So if you ask him to just manage a game, it's New England with Belichick.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, though, the Rams, Niners, Packers, they're basically all come from the same coaching tree, and they're both basically all running similar offenses. So all those offenses would work.
Jones has to have a running game and play action. That he's that old style offense, and I think the Giants envisioned that with Garrett, but they just didn't have the O-line to do that. That's all.
Yeah, I feel like it's another team I could possibly see him being on. I think it's the Tennessee Titans. The way they play.
Yeah, but that guy's the same quarterback as Jones over there.
Yeah, they're too similar. Tannehill.
Yeah.
What about the Steelers? I don't even know what we're talking about. This. I don't think Daniel Jones is.
I agree with Bob. I agree with you, Bobby. I agree, and I know. Opinion said that a lot. I agree with you, Bobby. Jones could go to another team that has an offensive line. Don't ask him to do much. Run the ball, play action down the field, and he could be real successful. And the Giant fans are going to eat their hearts out. I can see that happening, man.
Yeah, you know what though? I heard it once before. I used to have arguments with Jet fans about. That's how people used to feel about Sam Darnold. About he's going to look great when he goes to another team. Guess what? He went to the Panthers, who were loaded on offense, and he was still the same Sam Darnold. So I can't say that either. Like maybe he looks better. I don't know.
Hey, you put Jones in the Steelers. I see him being in the playoffs the very first year.
I mean, when McCaffrey was playing, Darnold was lighting it up the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yo, the Steelers get a quarterback like Jones. I'm telling you, man, because he fits that team just right. I'm telling you, man. He just manages the games. He makes his throws here and there. They run the ball, and they depend on their defense. I could see them. Dude, they'll win 11 games. I'm telling you.
The thing with Daniel Jones is this. Can he be a good quarterback? Yeah, I just don't think if you're expecting to all of a sudden in year 4 be a great quarterback, like a top 5 quarterback, I don't think it's happening. But can he be a top 12, top 15 quarterback, maybe top 20 quarterback? Yeah, maybe he can be, but I don't. That's the thing with him. I think he could be a good quarterback. I just don't think he's ever going to be a great quarterback. So if that's what you're looking for, then I think everyone's going to be set for disappointment. But if you're looking for just an average quarterback that you could win with, yeah, maybe he could be that.
Yeah, you have to have a really, really good team around him. It can't just be Jones is not coming in like we drafted him to come to the Giants. He wasn't taking this half trash or even more than half trash team, put him on the shoulders and carried him like I don't know, a Russell Wilson would when he was young, or a Murray who made Arizona look okay the first year or two.
My issue with Daniel Jones is also this. He's athletic, but he's not athletic. Like, he could run in a straight line, and he's fast. But when I watch Daniel Jones, I don't see any escapability in the pocket. I don't see any on the throw, running to his left and to his right, making throws down the field. It's like more of a pocket passer, and if it's a design run, he can run. But as far as like escapability in the pocket, I just don't see it. So it's like I was answering sports like he'd rather have Daniel Jones over Darnold. I just don't see him manipulating the pocket like Logan said, or escaping the pocket. He's a pocket passer that if it's a design run, he's athletic, but he's not athletic when he has to do it himself. That's my opinion. I don't know.
No, you might be right about that, but at the same time, has he ever really even had like a true pocket? Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone has this misconception of like Bobby's comment about Tannehill. Like Tannehill wasn't terrible in Miami. People think he was terrible. He went to the playoffs and then he got injured. And he had some. If you look at his stats, he had some decent years. So Tannehill, I still think he was a decent quarterback in Miami. He just went to the Titans where he had Derrick Henry and looks a lot better. That's all.
Right.
Like it's not like Tannehill was totally awful like in Miami.
No, he's
Just
not. But
kind of ruined him.
Titans have had a team that could go to a Super Bowl, and I feel like Tannehill is a little bit holding them back.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
I don't
when you
think.
don't have
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Like when everyone talks about quarterbacks, though, it comes a point where it's like, yeah, your quarterback, you can win with your quarterback and stuff, but can he get you over the hump? And that's the difference between like a great quarterback and a good quarterback. It's like Tannehill couldn't do it in the playoffs. Jimmy G couldn't do it in the playoffs. If the Niners have the Niners have Tom Brady, they probably win the Super Bowl.
I just feel like the Titans, as you said, they're getting held back by Tannehill's, I guess, not like the best style of play for that, like I guess offense. I mean, all they want him to do and all they ask for him to do, because Mike Vrabel is such an old school type of head coach, just sit in the pocket, let Derrick Henry work. The defense will take care of it, and then just do your job and you're good. They just need a little bit of more like an Aaron Rodgers type to get to that, next level. They need that next level quarterback. But, Mike Vrabel, I don't know if he's willing to do that, because most of his style comes from getting non-players that like no one knows. Like his team is filled with a lot of players no one knows. Like Harold Landry had like 4 sacks against Joe Burrow, and no one focuses on him. Or
Jeffrey
2
Simmons, really good.
Jeffrey Simmons, right?
Top defensive tackles.
Right.
And by the way, Giants Opinion Sports was like, Jones had 26 touchdowns his first 12 games. The offense has been run. But the thing is, it's like we're looking at Daniel Jones' rookie year. And how do we know just like there wasn't any film on Daniel Jones that was the issue? Plus, Daniel Jones also had a crap load of turnovers his rookie year, too. We got to look at that. So it's like everyone wants to look back at a rookie year's quarterback. It's like there's been a ton of quarterbacks that had great rookie years and then didn't want to be good. Like Baker Mayfield, I know everyone trashes him, but he also had a great rookie year. He had a shit ton of touchdown passes. But I actually rather my rookie struggle his first year than beat his great rookie and just like fall flat on his face. That's just my opinion. I don't really go by the rookie year.
That's why there's a big difference between an elite quarterback and a quarterback that is just a good quarterback that's in a good place, in a good situation.
But listen, once if we all see Daniel Jones going off, like having a good season, y'all going to be thanking me. Cause I'm still believe in Jones no matter what.
Yeah,
I'm not ready to quit out on Jones.
The only way Daniel Jones is going to prove to me that he's made it far in this league is if he can show whenever a situation is going against him in the playoffs, he can be the one to step up when the team around him is doing bad. If he can do that, then Daniel Jones, I think, is everything you want in a franchise quarterback. But you don't want him to do too much if the team around him is good.
But thing is, here's the thing though. If Jalen Hurts doesn't do good, y'all got to go with the same route like we're doing Daniel Jones. Y'all got to end up going the same route with us. But here's the thing though. With Daniel Jones, he never had an offensive line in front of him. He always getting hit blindside. And number one, it's not easy being a quarterback on the field. You're just watching the shit on TV. It's like, also, like you got wide receivers dropping passes, wide receivers and running backs fumble too. It's like,
I understand that, but you have to.
It's like I feel like I feel like everything shouldn't be on the quarterback. That's why I feel like it's not fair. I get it. The quarterback is supposed to be the leader, but damn, everybody got to participate. Everybody has to do their job also.
I understand that. I'm not saying that you're right or wrong. I just feel like in terms of a situation, if Jones if you guys say like if you think he can be a top 5 quarterback or top 10, which you just said he'll be like really good next year, then prove to me that you can come down in a situation
He's
where
done it though. What more y'all wanted to see?
okay,
But
prove
He
to
showed
me
he
Alright,
throw
so let me
touchdowns
answer your
to the
prove
question.
to me when you're
Y'all seen
facing a really good team and you can show that you're a good quarterback and you can do a lot of the things that elite quarterbacks can't do and you could pull off
Yeah.
a good win.
All right.
So let
Also,
me ask you a question.
it's to the wide receivers and tight ends to catch passes too. Maybe half the picks won't even be on him too.
All right, when they get
What-
a good team around you, I don't want to hear this shit. Well, go ahead, Chris.
What if I
Yeah, the shit.
what
It don't
what
say
if
shit
I
with Jalen.
tell you?
Bolt.
All right, what if I tell you Daniel Jones can be Kirk Cousins? Are you signing up for that? Yes or no? Because that's who I think like that's what his ceiling is, a Kirk Cousins. And everyone's gonna be like Daniel Jones could be better than Kirk Cousins, but if you look at Kirk Cousins' stats, I know he's not a money player, Kirk Cousins, but his stats
Right.
they're pretty good for a quarterback. So if Daniel Jones can be a Kirk Cousins type quarterback, would you sign up for that?
No.
That won't
right?
take you over the hump. That just won't take
No,
you.
I'd rather just draft a young QB in 23 and take it from there.
Yeah,
Chris,
he-
that's what I like. If
It-
you're a
it-
Giants fan, you have to be scared of having another Kirk Cousins because if you just look at Kirk Cousins' resume, his stats is really good and all that, but he never takes you over the hump.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I always believe if you don't have a
But the
quarterback,
thing
you
is,
keep
though-
trying to get one until you can get one.
Thing
Right.
is, what is the point being scared? The Giants been bad for so long. What possibly I'm gonna be scared about? We've been bad for years.
I understand that, but
This don't surprise me.
at some point, when you're starting to contend and you don't have the quarterback to get you over the hump, you'll see these things, Jaden.
I'm not worried about Daniel Jones, so I ain't worried.
I mean, Slay, look at it from this point of view. Like, if you could build the greatest team ever, like I really think the Colts built a really good team. But guess what? Now they don't have a quarterback, and they're good enough where they can't get a quarterback because they're never going to be picking in the top 5 in the draft. Their issue is now their quarterback, and they built this awesome team, but they have no quarterback now, so they can't win. And that's how you become an average team now. With no quarterback.
I agree.
And you're never in the top 5 to take a quarterback.
I agree, man. I completely agree. That's why I've always been so high on if you're a quarterback like a Kirk Cousins and you put up great numbers, but the team around you is very talented and stuff, and you can't take them over the hump. I don't consider that good elite quarterback play. I don't consider that elite quarterback play.
Oh no. Cousins is not even close to elite.
That's why people.
Yeah, when you're looking at it as a fantasy point, you want the numbers and the stats, or do you want your quarterback to get you a championship? That's two different things. So you gotta ask yourself that as a fan, basically. And to me, I don't want no Cousins. And I'm gonna be real with you. Jones is a nice guy. He's a great, he's a gentleman. I don't think Jones is gonna be here in 23. Not because I don't want him to. I do want him to. But if you're asking me what I think they're going to use him and say all the right things for 1 year and they're moving on.
Daniel Jones is the guy girls look at and say, let's just be friends.
You know what, though? The Giants fans are going to have the same argument next year in the draft because I know exactly what's going to happen.
But listen,
you're saying you don't want a quarterback this year, and then next year you're going to get to the draft, right? And let's say let's say you don't get the first pick because that first pick never gets traded for the most part. Now you're gonna have the choice. Oh, the Ohio State quarterback, and say Justin Fields is a bad second year. Everyone's gonna be like, well, I don't want a quarterback because Ohio State quarterbacks stink, and everyone's gonna be arguing that they don't want the Ohio State quarterback, and it's gonna be like, even if there's quarterbacks in next year's draft class, there's gonna be the same argument. It's gonna be funny to hear. It's
gonna be the same amount of excuses as this year because people really just want Daniel Jones.
I mean, but listen, other quarterbacks, I don't think it's going to work out for the Giants at the same time. Because if we don't build the offensive line, we're not going to go to where that we want to go.
Well, it depends what you mean by that, because there is one quarterback that could definitely change that team around with just one offensive lineman or two offensive linemen.
Who?
Deshaun
They're not
Watson.
going after
Yeah,
him.
yeah. He
Yeah.
just said the name.
He's not. Yeah, I would take Watson, but with the allegations, yeah, we're not gonna get him. So yeah.
Here's the only scenario that I can imagine taking a quarterback, because let's be honest, even if the Giants take 2 linemen in the first round this year and maybe a lineman in the fourth, including the ones that we took in the first, they're not going to develop into immediate great starters. It's going to take a year or two for them to get gelled. So the only scenario I could see us taking a quarterback is if we take Akeem Ekwonu and Malik Willis, sit Willis for a year behind DJ, let Daniel take the beating, and just develop the line. And we got Hub in the chat.
Hey, Kush, what
Well,
up?
Good, Kush.
you know what else?
Hey,
what,
I'm
what
just.
happens,
What's up, Hub?
what happens if you guys build your team this
Hop on
offseason,
if you
right?
want.
Everyone's saying Russell Wilson. What happens if Russell Wilson stays in Seattle one more year? Now you build the team up, and Russell Wilson has a good year, but he wants out of Seattle. How do we know that the Giants don't go after Russell Wilson next year, not this year? Maybe he stays in Seattle
I
one more
would like
year.
Russell
The
Wilson.
Giants build their team up, and then the Giants get Russell Wilson for he plays 3 or 4 years after you guys get him next year, and he plays in 3 or 4 years for you guys. I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing is, if Russell Wilson, like with the next year, like you said, if he's available, I'll take him. I know some people don't like him because listen, don't look at this year like he had a bad year, but it's been way other years he was good with Seattle. You know, I just don't want
I think he had that bad year 'cause I think he ain't
don't let
his
the
injury.
1 year trick you. Thing is, I'm not a fan of taking a quarter. I don't want to take a QB this year. It don't make any sense. Build the offensive line, get that edge, and get a D tackle and a linebacker. You know, let's just go.
What about next year? Let's say if Daniel Jones doesn't do good this year.
I'm all with it for next year. Take a QB next year. I'm with it. By the way, look, the team is built. Everything is set for the quarterback for next year. Everything is set. I'd rather go that route. Because look, we was the same people talking about this quarterback draft class is trash.
I have a question for Champ.
I'm not gonna agree, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen with this
It's good
quarterback draft
content,
class?
so yeah, it does.
There's going to be one guy that winds up being good, and everyone's going to be like, I can't believe we passed on that guy. And that's what's going to happen probably in this draft class. It's one of these guys will be decent or really good his rookie year. Everyone's going to be like, we passed on that guy.
And
Because
I have a question.
all the quarterbacks. Go ahead, Logan.
No, you're good. I was just going to say real quick to Champ. So what if the same scenario happens where Daniel Jones doesn't perform up to par next year because something went wrong, and the quarterback class next year isn't as good as we thought it would be? The same scenario this year. Are we just going to say wait another year, or are we just going to take a risk on a quarterback that may or may not work again?
But for next year, I will take a quarterback if he doesn't work out. That's what I was saying.
Well, yeah, but you didn't listen to my
Yeah, but
scenario.
he's saying,
but not fucking this year though.
Champ, that's not what I was saying. You need to start listening when people talk.
You don't tell me what to do.
I mean,
I think also sometimes you have to build. Giants have a chance to build a team and then have a young QB walk in here later to a ready-made team around him, and that's something we haven't had in a long time. There's something to that, And
Yeah, but there's also an argument you can make, though. It's like sometimes when you're picking in the top 5, I know this year is not the greatest quarterback class, but say it was, and say you automatically were going to skip on a quarterback because it's like I want to build around Dan Jones. Sometimes when you're picking in the top 5, you don't get the shot of taking a quarterback every year because you're not picking in the top 5. So now let's say there were good quarterbacks in this draft class, and you decided to go with Daniel Jones, and you said, you know what, I'm not even going to look at these quarterbacks, even though they're good, because I don't want to pick a quarterback. It's like, what happens if you finish with the 12th pick next year? That means you're going to trade up and give a bunch of picks up for an unproven player. You don't know whether or not he's going to be good. So that's why my philosophy has always been this year's excluded because I wouldn't take a quarterback this year. But if you're picking, I had this argument last year with Jeff Benz. It's like everyone wanted to trade the pick and ride out with Darnold for one more year, and then use draft picks to trade up to get a quarterback if they wanted to this year. Well, if we would have stayed with Darnold, we'd be in a worse situation than we are now because we would have no quarterback in this draft class, and Darnold isn't good. So it's like Now what do you do? So that's why it's like my philosophy has always been, if you do love a quarterback and you're picking in the top 5, to take them, because it's like you don't know where you're going to be picking the following year or who's coming out. Unfortunately for you guys this year, it worked out where it's like it's a bad class for quarterbacks, and that's the problem. It's like you're probably better off sticking with Daniel Jones for one more year. But if it was a good quarterback,
this love that some guys have for Willis. Yeah. Go ahead, Buko. Sorry.
If it was a good quarterback class, I would be looking at a quarterback this year.
Oh, if they were real
Just because I'm
quarterbacks, the
picking in the
Giants
top
were going to
5.
trade up to get one. You know that. But it's not. It's not good quarterbacks at all. So you can ill afford to not draft a tackle and an edge for these quarterbacks. That's just how it. That's just what it is, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Kush wants a link.
Okay, I got
Yeah,
you.
Miz, I actually agree with you because I'd rather get like that linebacker, that offensive line, or that edge. I'd rather go with that because we haven't had that in a long time. We need to let that sink in. A quarterback is not the main need for this team. It's way other needs we need though.
All right. Look, with the quarterbacks in this draft, if you want to make a case that the kid from Pitt might turn out to be something, but he has to be on a team he's got to go to a team like the Steelers. He got to be on a team that's much further along than we are. But I feel like with these guys, and I'm not a believer in Malik Willis, there's this big hype around him that reminds me of Haskins. I'm not saying he is that, but it reminds me a lot of. The thing is, you can't make a case that any of these QBs are any better than Jones. Not that Jones.
But the thing is,
good.
but the problem is, everyone's sticking up for Jones, and Jones was viewed as a similar prospect coming out, where people bashed the pick of picking Daniel Jones because they said he didn't deserve to be the 6th overall pick. So everyone wants to look at Daniel Jones and stick up for him all of a sudden, but everyone bashed him when he got drafted, saying he should have never been picked there. So it's like now everyone loves him, or thinks he's a better prospect than these guys. But coming out of college, people didn't think he was a good prospect. So you got to look at it from that point of view also.
A lot of people had Drew Lock above him at draft time.
No.
If I can get like Matt Corral in the 2nd round, I might have to roll the dice and see what he could do. But I wouldn't use a 1st round pick on any of these guys.
2nd round is a whole different story.
I just want to say, and if I sound quiet, my bad. I kind of have to be quiet right now. But I just want to say, I just want to say in regards to the Matt Corral thing, an NFL head coach have said this before. I forgot who it was, and I agree with it. If you pass on a quarterback already once, there's no reason you should take him the 2nd time because it means you're not confident enough to take him the 1st time he was available on the board, and that's a problem. So if you pass on Matt Corral in the 1st round, and this goes for any quarterback, what's the point of you taking him in the 2nd round if you weren't confident he could be your guy when he was there earlier?
The only argument I'll make with that, and I agree, is that the Ravens traded down, and then they still took Lamar Jackson.
Because the Ravens were not looking for a QB that draft, right? Like the Giants are in a position to actively look for a QB. The Ravens, like people forget, they were looking for a tight end. That's why they took 2 tight ends, and the 2nd one worked out better than the 1st. Lamar dropped, and Ozzie Newsome was in his last draft, so that's why they took him. They made the trade for that to happen. They were not actively looking for a quarterback. Like we're a team that technically should be actively looking for a quarterback. We're not in the position the Ravens were.
Yeah, I agree because I agree that if you love a quarterback, you just take him no matter where. So I don't see the why trading down and then taking the quarterback. So yeah, I kind of agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Right. But
Hold up, Kush.
I'm not taking any of these quarterbacks in the 1st round this year. Because again, to me, none of these quarterbacks are worth us. I'm talking about the Giants, not the league. The Giants giving up a top offensive lineman and a top edge rusher or a linebacker. If we could have those 2 in the top 10, these quarterbacks to me are not as valuable as that in this draft. They're not.
I agree. Go ahead, Bruce.
I'm gonna get so much hate for this, but I actually still think, I'm not saying he can be great, but I think that if you got Trubisky, he could still be a decent quarterback in this league.
I agree.
Because everyone wants to make the arguments for Justin Fields that, well, he had Jim Nagy, that's why he was terrible. Well, then you can make the same argument for Trubisky. He had Jim Nagy, and guess what? Trubisky had better. He went to the playoffs with the Bears, even when they played Nick Foles over him, and he still came in off the bench after, and they still took him to the playoffs. So yeah, I get he gets a lot of hate because he's trash, but I still think he could be a decent quarterback. And Dable's worked with him in Buffalo, and I know preseason doesn't matter, but he did look pretty good in preseason under Dable. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is.
I completely agree. I think, and based off of what I've seen from Mitchell Trubisky in the past, he's shown me that he can be a decent quarterback. He might not have the best arm, but he's shown me that he can be a decent quarterback. There's moments with the Bears that there was a lot of things going wrong for him. I mean, in his last playoff game with the Bears, which was the Saints versus Bears in that little Nickelodeon playoff game or whatever, he had that one really good throw that the receiver completely dropped it. And it was for the world to see. It was a wild card game. And Mitchell Trubisky dotted that ball up to where no quarterback can throw the ball better. And the receiver drops it.
Yeah, I think he's young enough where it's like he could potentially still be the answer, but he's also good enough where he can push Daniel Jones this year to see if Daniel Jones is the answer. So I think it's like a win-win situation where that'd be the one guy I would go after in free agency. He has familiarity with Dable. The only thing I question with Trubisky is him in New York.
Jay, I'm gonna have to trade you out. I'm sorry, but for 1 second, I'm just gonna have to trade. Jay, hang in the chat. I'll get you back in. Adam wants to come back in. I'm just gonna do a little rotation here. Yeah, go ahead, Puka.
That's one concern I would have with Trubisky coming back is because he supposedly the rumors in Chicago were like he would shut off the TVs and the facility and stuff because he couldn't handle like the criticism and stuff. But I don't think he's a bad option to bring in for this year to compete with Daniel Jones. Plus, maybe, who knows, maybe hit lightning in a bottle. He's young enough to still be the answer. And then you take a quarterback next year.
What's about him?
What's going on, fellas? I
was being Adam loved me so much. You can't get enough. You see that, bro? Adam loved me so much. You can't get enough.
When you say Dan Jones, I had to come back on. You know, my God.
I knew I was getting you back when I wrote that.
Nah, man. People know about me and Daniel Jones. I'm just tired of it. You know, just the things people think I don't like Daniel Jones. The things I'm looking for. Giant Opinion Sports. He already knows. He knows it's coming. What I'm looking for is for him to improve on the things that he hasn't improved on the last 2 years. That's what I want him to improve on. Giant Opinion Sports is going to say, well, the offensive line, I get it. But for me, this year, we already know what the plan is. We're going to fix the offensive line. Regardless of what we want to say, it's going to be fixed by hook or by crook. So now I want to focus on what he needs to do better in order for him to reach the level we need him to reach. That's all. That's it. He needs to have better pocket awareness, move around when there's a leaky run. Remember, because this is going to be an offensive line that's going to need to gel. And if one of those guys has a breakdown, right, will he be able to move around when the shit hits the fan? He can do everything when everything's perfect. We've seen that. The thing that I need to see is, will he be able to hold up when everything's not perfect?
That's the exact point I made earlier when that came up.
Sorry, I don't mean to repeat your point, but
but I completely agree with you, Adam. I have nothing against Daniel Jones and how he plays the game of football.
You just said you hated him.
In terms of his football, I'm just saying. I'm trying to make a point here, Logan. I don't think there's anything wrong with his physical talents. He has tremendous talents. You know, he has the ability to throw it damn near 70, 80 yards down the field if he had the chance to. He has a ridiculous arm. But my problem with him, as you just said, is when the situation is crumbling down to him, like down to earth, like when it's like when the situation is bad for him, can he show and prove to me that he can make the most out of it, like a Joe Burrow, like
real quick, right?
a Tom Brady? Like
I'm not
any
trying
other
to talk about. I'm really not trying to talk about Daniel Jones for the short time I have on here. I feel like it's a redundant argument at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
but in order to kind of shift away from it in a way that's still connected, right? The offensive line and how we could address and fix the offensive line. Can y'all believe that a Giants fan, right? A Giants fan commented on my mock draft video saying that I spent too much capital on the offensive line. Like, are you a Giants fan if you told me that I just addressed the offensive line too much? Like,
Was it Viz?
you're not serious. No, it was some dude I've never seen commented on the video before, right?
3
Now,
great picks he had, guys.
There's like 3 types of criticism, right? There's constructive criticism, which I love to have on my videos. There's criticisms that are just kind of hating. That's Viz.
Idiots.
Viz is just a hater. And then there's just stupid people. That man falls under the last category. How are you going to tell me that I'm spending too much draft capital on the offensive line when with that draft capital, I got 3 out of our 5 position fixed, 1. And 2, people are just every single year get distracted from the O-line when it comes draft time. Every single year they get distracted from it. Look at that draft and tell me the only thing I probably didn't address was what? Was cornerback? But that's because in my free agency video that goes with it, I signed a corner. Like, there's ways to still fix the O-line by spending high draft capital and still getting good quality players elsewhere, like Chad Muma in the 3rd round for your linebacking core.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. You know what the problem is? Everyone wants to fix the offensive line, and they don't want to use their first-round picks because it's not a sexy pick. So it's like everyone always is. Once it comes to let's fix the offensive line, as soon as the draft comes, it's like we use the first-round draft pick on an offensive line, and people hate it. But it's like
I don't even think it's that it's the sexy pick thing anymore. I think it's just that they don't. People literally they wanna fix it the way that we've seen other teams fix it, like the Chiefs. And their line isn't even completely fixed, right? They fixed it mostly through free agency rather than the draft, and so do a good amount of teams in the NFL. The Giants, for some reason, just have not been able to do that, which is why I want to spend picks on it, because teams have. Look at teams, man. They can build an offensive line without consistently spending a first-round pick on their line. We haven't been able to do that in 10 years. It's like we're cursed or something. Like, we almost need to spend a high-value pick on it. I think that's what it is.
Don't stop up inside a slate. I'm just gonna put you in the chat. And
I got you. Yeah, I was about to leave.
Zion waiting for a little while, so I'm gonna bring him on.
Yep, you have a great night.
You're absolutely right.
The only argument I have
thanks for
against
coming
that,
on.
though,
Thanks for supporting. But hang out. Thank you for joining us.
I don't think you could hold the new guys in charge to that. I know the Giants have had bad draft history with Brees and Gettleman drafting offensive linemen in the later rounds, but that doesn't mean like you should hold that like automatically think that Shane's going to have that type of that history also. And I think that's the one
what
argument I have where it's like people always think when they get this new GM and everything that like just because they haven't been able to draft something in previous rounds that means like this new GM is going to be the same. And that's the one argument I would have. But Giants.
I mean, I agree with you, but I don't think I said that.
No, you didn't. But that's like a lot of people think like that too. Like. Okay. I'm not saying you do, but like people think like, oh, we can't draft offensive linemen in the 2nd and 3rd round, so we have to take one in the 1st. You don't have to, but you definitely should draft one in the 1st round this year because that's where the top of the draft is. It's strong at. It's strong at offensive line and edge rusher. So if you don't, you should come away with an offensive lineman, at least one of them.
Right, and I think like what's happening is our depth drafting has been terrible, right? We should have been developing guys. I mean, we're looking at Matt Pert, who's a 3rd-round pick, and some people think 3rd-round pick should start. He's still developing, and he still has his flaws. But in this case, what Hub's mock was, he had 3 guys going. He had Zion Johnson, he had I think Aquanu number 2, and then he had a dude from Georgia. I forget his name, but
I think you got the orders mixed up. Aquanu I took in the 1st round. Johnson I had in the 2nd round, and Salyer I had in the 3rd round.
Right. I was just saying that he picked him. I'm sorry about the order, but
you should be sorry, Adam.
Shut up, Zion. No, I'm just kidding. But no, my point is that
take Zion Johnson at the end of the 1st round. They better shoot themselves.
Yeah, the Bengals are the biggest threat to Zion making it to the 2nd round.
I believe it too. I think his stock is rising.
It is Zion guy though.
Let me know you were gonna do something tonight.
When I was looking at him, he actually looks pretty good.
When?
What is that? Did you say when I was looking at him or Hub?
What is happening?
Oh, maybe he was talking to someone else. Never mind. I thought he was talking to me. Oh, what's going on, everybody? Glad to see all of my people in the same building. I like everybody here but Logan. So
We're all in separate buildings, dumbass. Get off the
we're in the
weed.
same stream yard. You know what I'm saying, man. What's up, Miz? What's up, Buko? What's up, Adam? What's up, Hub? What's up, kid? Let's get it.
What's up, Stoner?
Well, thanks for popping in.
Leave that man alone.
He just got out of a long day of work, so
Yeah, to come pop in for a bit. Thank you, Slave, for letting give me the chance to take your spot.
He's an Eagle fan, anyways. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't thank him.
I just want to call in and then say, I'm happy with this organization and the steps that we're moving forward. I don't want to take over the stream. What's up, Giants Opinion Sports? I'm gonna fade back and I'll let you guys go and talk about what you guys are talking about. I'm just happy with our coaches hires, and I'm super happy that we're actually heading in the right direction. And Buko, you got to call into Premium Tick sometimes, man. I love your knowledge.
Oh, someone else asking for him.
What's up, Bobby?
that's the Buko. Yep. Bobby, hey, good stream, guys, tonight. Appreciate it. I'm not ending it. I'm just saying appreciate everyone coming through. We had all different type of guys came through that we didn't expect. And just trying to just get back to sports and use our passion. We got the combine coming. We got the draft coming.
Yes.
And like I said, I'm going to bring on some streams with us where we try to sometimes we might do some baseball. Maybe I can interest one or two people in the country in World Cup soccer this summer. I don't know. We'll see. I like it. I'm interested in it. So we'll see.
Dude, if you're interested in it, dude, I would recommend you just call it, bro. Just call the games. Call all the games, even though, people may not join from the Giants community. At least build your channel up because your channel is a sports channel, right? Mainly Giants fans, but your channel is a sports channel, so you can help your channel grow by doing those live streams.
All right. Well, I was saying that in my video earlier, I mentioned that there's a big soccer community out there, and I could reach out and do a little World Cup soccer this summer. I'd love to stream the United States games, maybe an Italy game. We'll see, but we got time for that. First, there's big football stuff still coming. Thank God.
Absolutely. And Elimination Chamber on Saturday for you WWE fans.
Yes.
We got the UFC fights on Saturday. Big things coming up on everyone's channel. So make sure you guys stay tuned to everybody here and always drop in knowledge and fire. So make sure you guys subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.
Zion, you said something that I want to bring up. And that is the coach that they hired for the offensive line, right? We are talking about the offensive line, but we're not talking about the person who's going to actually be working with the offensive line. Now, if you look what they did in Buffalo, they were in the middle of the road type of offensive line. So I'm not saying he's going to make them gangbusters, but if he can get them to be competent then and functional, we'll see this team do some things, right? The thing that I'm worried about is just gelling because people don't have patience, right? This team is going to need to gel. If Hub's mock comes true and they draft 3 linemen, whether it be the ones he picked or 3 in general, right? And those guys are, let's say, starters. It's going to take them a few weeks to get acclimated in real live game speed. And that's what I worry about. We start and struggle,
That's the thing I think about. Like after your speech about wide receiver, I gave you shit for a little bit, but then when you repeated yourself, I kind of took back and stopped dissing you and really listened. I mean, like if you look about it, like us as Giants fans, like I would want to as a Giants fan, I would want to go offensive line, edge, offensive line, or edge, offensive line, offensive line, or offensive line, offensive line, offensive line, edge. As a Giants fan, I would love to do that, right? I would love to add in a middle linebacker because I think that if you go offensive lineman, middle linebacker, so offensive line and edge, middle linebacker, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. But when you brought up that point, that's what I want, right? That's what I want the most, my points. But then when I thought about it and I stepped back, I'm like, why am I not to talk about Reed, but why am I so obsessed with us fixing the offensive line in the draft? There's still free agency, There's still lessons to be learned at the offensive line we had here. Who says Nick Gates gets signed, to back with us and they coach up some guys that we had here better than the coaches that coached them up in the past, right? Who says we don't attack? We go heavy in free agency and not heavy in money, just heavy on bringing in a lot of players for cheap and letting them battle it out in the off season. So when it comes down to the draft, maybe they have 3 or 4 spots figured out already in their minds, and then they just need to draft one starter and then a couple of secondary pieces, in like the later rounds, the 4th and the 5th. Maybe they grab some offensive line there. But I'm so focused on leaving at least 2 offensive line before the 3rd. When I have to, when you made that point last night, I thought back and thought about it, and I'm like, yo, if we don't need a top 10 offensive line to succeed in this league. We don't need a top 15. If we have a 18th or a 19th offensive line, but we have weapons on the offense, like good receivers that can catch, like a great tight ends that can block first. I don't care if our tight ends can't catch. They need to be blocking first more than running out there and catching routes. Good tight ends that can block, good receivers that can catch, good running backs that can run and see the holes.
There is a caveat to that, though. You have to have a quarterback that could overcome a less than average offensive line.
I was just about to say that, right? Then you come down to the Daniel Jones situation. And I don't want to go into I'm glad you're back, Hub. I don't want to go into the next season questions. I want to go into next season like, God damn, I know this is not going to be a Super Bowl, a playoff season. I know this is going to be a foundation year. I know these guys are going to take some time to gel, but I'll be happy if we're able to address the offensive line, but still players like what Adam brought up yesterday, like attacking. I don't want to attack a wide receiver in the 2nd, but if we have to, because I want Sterling gone, like get out of here, Shepard. 2 full seasons, 6 years. I'm sorry, bro. I would be fired by my job. Like, come on. The first thing you need to do at the job is show up. That's 95% of the work right there. So injury prone, I'm not trying to diss the guy, but literally injury prone. We got Slayton, literally your wide receiver, professional wide receiver. You have easy passes that you can't catch. If you get rid of them, we get rid of Pettis. We literally clean house on all the wide receivers. And I like Pettis, but I'm just talking about cleaning house on all the wide receivers that really hasn't done anything for us. And then getting, like Adam said, a second in the first. A wide receiver in the 2nd. The more I thought about that, Adam, I'm sorry I'm going on a rant. I'm on cloud 9. I'm just going to stop there. That actually, I wouldn't mind that. I'm so focused on we need to draft 2 offensive lines before the 3rd. But as cliche as this is, I really am happy, and I don't want to say use the word comfortable, but because Giants fans, we should never be comfortable. But I'm pretty comfortable with the coaches they brought in and Joe Schoen to build a good team. Better than what the last organizations had done. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in free agency either. I know everyone says the Giants don't have a lot of money and stuff, but let's say they do wind up clearing a lot of cap space, and they do say they go after one free agent, and it's an offensive lineman, like an Alex Kappa, who's only 26 years old. You put him out. Or just say they get one offensive lineman in free agency, and then a bunch of tier 3 free agents, a bunch of 1-year contracts. All right, so now it's like I got one of my offensive linemen in free agency. Now I use either 5th or the 7th pick for an offensive lineman. It's like I know everyone wants to fix the offensive line, but sometimes it can't be fixed in 1 year. But if you could tell me that you could lock down you already have your left tackle in the future. Now let's say you can give me a left guard next to my left tackle, and a young left guard, and I say a right tackle, and I got 2 bookend tackles now and a left guard. It's like, all right, now I could band-aid the rest for another year, and then next year you fix the line even more. It may take 2 years, 3 years to fix the offensive line. I think regardless, it's going to be a better offensive line than it was.
Yeah. I think so too. I think the 2021 Giants we just hit rock bottom. Like it was for real rock bottom. Like, man, how worse can it possibly get? I think going
I
forward,
wouldn't say that too soon.
No, for real though. I think going
your
forward,
offensive
like
line was so bad.
I'm not
I can't see it
protecting.
worse.
Yeah, I'm not predicting. I don't know if I said protecting. I'm not predicting like we go to the playoffs next year. I have us winning 6 to 7 games next year on the 17 games that we play. I just take it as it can't get any worse than last year. Like, how could it possibly get any worse?
I remember a lot of people were saying, "How can Matt Pert possibly be worse than Nate Solder?"
But that's a
And put
difference
Matt
between a
Pert in-
player and a change in the organization, a change at
Right.
GM, a change at head coach,
Yeah.
a change at defensive coordinator, a change at offensive coordinator. This is a full-on change. The only thing we didn't change, and we don't even know if we're gonna change it yet, is the QB. But like Hub said, the time he spent on here, he doesn't really want to talk QB. So that's the only thing we haven't really changed yet. And obviously the offensive line and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, there's a possibility you may like. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but there's a possibility you may lose. You may win less games than you did this year, but doesn't mean you may feel better about the team though.
That's
even though they won
exactly.
less games. If you're young, if you draft these young players and they look good
Exactly.
at the end of the season, that's all. That's what next year's about. I know everyone wants to win, but you can't always get what you want. It's all about. I feel like for you guys, it's developing.
I think it's
young
almost
players.
impossible to win
Yeah,
less games.
you're-
I know what you're saying. I totally agree with you. I know what the theory is. I get it.
You want to have young
But go
players.
look at that schedule. Like even you
Even
said,
though
it.
you're losing, even though you're losing games, you want to be able to watch the games and say, okay, well, at least I like these young players, and and next year I feel good about the future. And it may be you may not win a ton of games this year, but you probably going to feel a lot better about your team watching the games next year than you did this year.
Right.
Can we address that prospect in the chat because the Hub had a good take on him.
A lot of people are sleeping on him.
And I'd like to hear the Hub's take on Mr. Karlakis, if that's okay.
Well, first I'll give my take on people that sleep on him, because I'm convinced they just straight up don't watch his tape.
Yes.
I've had dudes tell me in my chat, he's just a power guy. He's going to be your typical 4-3 defensive end, which is false. I've had people tell me his power rushing is going to work at the NFL level. That's false for a couple reasons. One, he's not just a power rusher. He's a speed rusher, and he's a great technician. And two, the dude, well, he has 3 years of starting experience, but he could get stronger. Just like every other player in the draft, they could always get stronger, but he's been bullying dudes his entire career. But Karlaftis is just, and you guys know Diggy, right? I've talked to Diggy about this off screen as well. And I've talked to Bobby Skinner from Talking Giants as well.
Great.
I have him as my edge 3, but they think he's so good that he's actually their edge number 2 in the class.
Wow.
So I disagree with Rick there about getting him at 12. I can see him being a riser, especially after the combine where he has sneaky flexibility and sneaky mobility. He's not fast, you know what I'm saying? He has some speed to him, but he's not like a Thibodeau fast guy, but he is agile. He has that lateral mobility. He knows how to get skinny. He's versatile. He could play outside linebacker, stand-up rush. It could be a power rush in 4-3 end. And I said this to Adam in the comments. He could also play defensive tackle, so you could have packages confusing the offensive line where Karlaftis is actually going to switch to the inside and Leo's going to switch to the edge. And then you got Leo rushing the passer from the outside and Karlaftis rushing from the inside and Aziz on the other side. Karlaftis is also a great compliment to Aziz. Aziz is our Kayvon Thibodeau from last year. Aziz is that raw, talented guy that's a little bit of speed, a little bit of power. Karlaftis is the one that's more, NFL ready. I think he's a plug-and-play player day one.
He reminds me of he actually reminds me of Trey Hendrickson, who the Bengals just signed this offseason, who everyone said, oh, he gets all his sacks, but he's just on power rusher. And everyone was like, oh, he got all these sacks on the Saints because he was just like, whatever. And then he goes to the Bengals and he puts up the same amount of sacks and he was a difference maker. And it's this really top-notch scout on Twitter. I forgot where he was. And he
my bad, I don't mean to interrupt you, but shout out to Giants Opinion Sports because he's saying exactly what I was saying. He literally just admitted, and this is not an insult to him, but I'm just saying, you can tell when people talk about Karlaftis whether or not they actually looked at the tape of him or not. Like, you could just tell. Even Giants Opinion Sports is saying it. What do you say?
Yeah. Well, you got me fired up on the guy because I thought he was going to be good at 7 too. So sorry, Chris, but I thought he was going to be good at 7. But Chris, go on.
No, I know the one thing I do say is I know there's this one scout on Twitter and he loves Karlaftis. He actually watched the whole film and he's like, I know this is he compares him to Justin Tuck. He says he sees Justin Tuck in Karlaftis' game when he watches him. Not saying he's going
blame
to
inside,
Justin
right?
Tuck, but that's what he sees when he watches him. And I know, I'm a Jet fan, and we're having the same argument because there's a lot of Jet fans. It's like we can't take Karlaftis. I don't want him because so it's like we're having the same argument you guys are having. It's like I don't want Karlaftis, whatever. But it's like it's funny how people view him, And it's like, I don't know. I think that cone drill at the combine is going to be real big for him because I think people are saying he's not athletic. And if he blows up that cone drill, I think he's going to
3-cone, yeah.
Listen, man, the cone drill is all agility and lateral mobility.
Yep.
He got that, and I said in my mock as well. And he's athletic just based off his high school days. He was a track and field guy. He was a track star, and he was a shot putter. So it's like people are talking about him as if he's stiff.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're absolutely
So
right.
you make a case that Karloff, and I don't disagree. I like him, and I liked him more lately. I didn't really look into him earlier. I definitely like him more than Jermaine Johnson, who's getting hype. I like this Karloff.
Jermaine Johnson is getting hype because of the Senior Bowl.
Third, Hub. You make a case that he's third after Thibodeau and Hudson or whatever order, but you got the case that he comes right after those two.
Yeah, I have him as my edge 3 in my class. But like I said, as time goes on, especially after the combine, as we get closer to the draft, don't be surprised if he's right there before Hutchinson for a lot of people. He already is right there before Hutchinson for a good amount.
Someone said Ryan Kerrigan was a good comp for him as well, too. I mean,
Ryan
Kerrigan.
I can see Ryan Kerrigan in him a little bit.
So, I mean, like, if you're going to give me Ryan Kerrigan on the Giants, I'm going to take that because that guy was a pretty good player for years on the Redskins and the Eagles. And so, for me, if that's Karolakis, then that's what I want at 7 because I wanted him at 7 before, but, things change. But when I watch him, my first thought was, well, I can move this guy inside. He's 270. I can move him around the line. And like you said, you can put him inside and outside. And I would love to see him against a guard, like what they did against, like what Aaron Donald did in the Super Bowl against that weak ass guard. You put a Karolakis in there, maybe he beats the guard because he's more athletic than him. I don't know, but I enjoy his tape. I think he brings power when he hits. Like when the boy hits, he hits you, right? And he's got athleticism.
And in addition to that hit that he's hitting you with, I said this as well in the mock draft video. He doesn't just have a first step, he has a first 5 steps. Like there's certain things he has that other people need to develop at the NFL level. This man has step 1, 2, 3, which is the get off of the line of scrimmage and the initial push. And then step 4 and 5 is the finishing, when he's pushing the offensive lineman down into the ground or out of the way. He has all 5 of that. He's very explosive.
Has anyone watched film?
Hold on,
so I think we missed that because of how his size is. His size ratio, when we look at him, is 6'4", 270. We're like, can a guy really move like that? Then when you watch the tape, it comes out like, yeah, that guy can actually really put it all together. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
What'd you say, Chris? I didn't get to hear you.
People talk about Karloffis too, but I think another guy that no one's talking to, and I talked to Adam about this, Dane Bugler is pretty good with his draft stuff. And he has Trayvon Walker as one of his top edge rushers, and he's higher on him than a lot of other people are, but no one is talking about him at all. So I wanted to know if any of you actually watched any film on Trayvon Walker.
No, I'll give you right now a list of guys that I've looked at. Hutchinson, Thibodeau, Karlaftis, Johnson, Ojabo, and that dude out of Cincinnati, Mike G. Sanders. Those are the only edges I've got a chance to look at.
All right, got ya. I like Mafi too from Minnesota. I mean, now he's rising up, so I don't know if I like him as much.
What's his name?
Boye Mafi from
I've seen his name
Minnesota.
In the second round a good amount.
Yeah, he was at the Senior Bowl.
But now they're saying he's rising into the first.
Pick him in the first.
He had 7 sacks last year for Minnesota. He came out and just balled out of the Senior Bowl, which is rising his stock. I'm sure if he goes to the Combine, he's going to blow that up. So that's a name you're going to start hearing throughout this process.
But everyone is high on this guy, Trayvon Walker from Georgia, and nobody is talking about him. So it's like people are going to be surprised if that guy winds up being a top 15 pick.
Top 15? What in the world? That's high.
He's like 6'5", 276, but they said he can bend. And like, I got to watch film on this guy because there's a lot of people that are talking about him, but yet we don't hear the media talking about him at all.
Wait, this is why the Combine is great, because once you start to find these names out and these little nuggets and these little trails, once they get to the Combine, if they blow it up, they'll be found.
Yeah.
Facts. Hell yeah. Well, I don't know if you got people backstage, miss, but I just wanted to say thank you for having me on. I'm gonna want to do some stuff. But yeah, I love talking to all you great people. Hub, I'm gonna hit you up on Twitter and stuff. We'll talk soon. Maybe do a video here in about 2 weeks or something, like a 30-minute sessions. I love that. And Chris, I'd love to get you on a 30-minute sessions too, even though you're just a Jets fan. I would love to talk to you, man. Bring that knowledge.
He's our resident Jet
Amen.
fan, okay?
And of course, Miz and Adam, we gotta do another 30-minute sessions, and Logan, me and we just all gotta do it. Anyhow, it's up to all these great content creators, and you gentlemen have a good night.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out as well. You know, I gotta get back to work. I was on my little break here. I'm doing my schoolwork. I'm gonna be out. Shout out to Miz for inviting me. It's always great being on, talking with all you guys.
Yeah,
hope to have y'all call into the show soon as well. You already know every Tuesday. Adam, I think you've only called in maybe once, so you know you gotta do more than that, bro.
Listen, I've called in a couple times. I'm busy, but I'm definitely going to hit you up on Tuesday, bro. Don't think I forget about you. I love your show. I'm always lurking, so I'm definitely going to call in.
For sure. Hey, man, have a good one, y'all. Peace out.
You too. Thank you.
Me too.
Yeah, guys.
I'm ready for free agency.
When is free agency?
You
March
can start
14th.
tampering with players on March 14th, so we're not too far away.
2.5 weeks.
We got the
Well,
combine.
more like
We got the
We ain't
combine the
tampering
first
with
week of
nothing
March.
because we don't even have a penny, so we're not tampering.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I think you'll start seeing cuts by early next week. Just because I think you want some time to go to the combine and negotiate some deals and some trades. So I'm not saying the Giants are going to be fully under the cap, but I'm hoping you're going to have an idea of even around the NFL who's going to be gone. I mean, Dante Fowler got cut. Not that people want him, but he's a guy you could bring in as a camp body if you wanted to. If you didn't want to go edge after the draft.
All right.
I know a lot of people don't like him, but I'm just saying.
No, I just laugh because I'm a Jet fan, and he's been every offseason. I feel like we're always saying how we're going to get Dante Fowler, and it never happens.
Yeah, he had one good year for the Rams, and that was it, huh?
Every offseason, it's like we're going to trade for him, we're going to sign him, and it just never happens.
He had a troubled career. He came in, blew out his knee, right? Doesn't play, comes back, gets like these sacks on his last year, goes to another team, doesn't do much.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. John Dependent Sports, he might be Lorenzo Carter. Actually, that brings me to this. Do people want to bring Lorenzo Carter back? Is that somebody you want in this free agency class? Because we have 18 guys leaving and possibly 4 or 5 more getting cut to get under the cap. So who from these guys do you want to keep? I think there's only like 2 or 3 guys I want to keep. For the Jets, I don't know how much they're going to cut, but
can't just get rid of everybody. That's what no one understands. Because eventually, you still have to fill out a roster. It's not just the roster. You need a roster for preseason too. So you can't just get
90
cut
men.
every single person. Because it's like if you have limited cap to begin with, it's like you can't just start cutting every single person you have. You need to have camp bodies too.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to the draft because I know that's going to be much bigger for us personally. I'm not looking for much in the free agency.
Bro,
maybe some cuts. Maybe we get some, lower end guys.
I said it earlier, and I got to tell Bobby, it's like I rather be where the Eagles are picking with their 3 first-round picks than where our teams are picking with their 2 first-round picks. It's just my opinion. I think they're in a better situation where they're picking with those 3 picks. I don't like the top 10 in this NFL draft at all. It's my opinion. I don't think it's the greatest top 10. I'd rather be picking where the Eagles are picking. It's like if I could trade my 2 first-round picks for the Eagles' 3 first-round picks, I would do it.
Makes sense. I mean, especially since everybody around like 12 to 25 is roughly the same. You're not getting too much of a drop off.
They're saying this is not the best year to have a top 10 pick, and of course, our teams have two in the top 10.
Yes, but thankfully, some of the needs that we need are the positions that are the best in the top 10. Right, like the offensive line and the edge guys. I think for the Giants, the 7th pick is really the crucial one for me. I think I'm already locked in that 5 is going to an offensive lineman. Like without a shadow of a doubt, Joe Shane knows that he cannot leave the draft if number 5. The only way number 5 is not a draft pick is if somehow Kayvon Thibodeau blows up the combine and slips to 5. That's the only way I think that you would have a discrepancy there.
I gotta be honest. I'm starting to think. I know the Jets want edge rushers, but I know how Joe Douglas is drafting now. He's only taking guys that love football because we've been burned too many times, and they want guys that love football. I'm starting to get a feeling that if Thibodeau's there, we still wouldn't take him, which scares me.
Well, you never know. You might get Karlaftis at 10. So
I personally think they might take Karlaftis or Aquanu. I think that's going to be those are going to be the picks.
See, this is why I would love to have more bites of the apple because, if I had another third round pick, I'm throwing in Lloyd somewhere because we forget about that guy as well. Why wouldn't the Jets want Lloyd? I mean, I know that's probably without they're going to pick at 4, but let's say he slips to 7. I mean,
from everything I heard for the Jets is the fans are going to be disappointed because that they're not going to go corner early and they're not going to go linebacker early. It's either they want to build trenches, offensive line, defensive line, and help their young quarterback. So
it's smart. It's smart.
A receiver, whether that's a tight end. Our tight ends are the worst in the league. We're probably going to sign a tight end and draft a tight end. So around 2 to 3, we're definitely taking a tight end. But I just I know everyone has us penciled in as taking a corner, but we went this year with a bunch of young kids and they held up pretty well. Wasn't the weak part of the defense. If anything, the safeties are the weak part, but we'll probably sign a free agent safety. And this draft class is actually really good at safety and corner. You get these guys later in the draft. And everyone wants receivers, but it's actually not a great year to get receivers this year. Some of these receivers that are going in the first round wouldn't normally be all the receivers last year.
We might as well not draft at all.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying this. But the draft is at the top is made for edge rushers and offensive linemen. So if you need them, that's where you take them.
Right, and I think that's why I keep telling people if you have a chance at 7 to get a guy, you get him as an edge, whether that's Karlaftis, Thibodeau, whomever, and then you can fill out the rest with a second, third round offensive lineman, as Hub so eloquently detailed in his mock draft.
Well, or even Bobby,
where he basically got Zion. Now Zion Johnson, I don't believe is going to be there. The other picks I think are going to fall within those range. I think Zion Johnson's on a meteoric rise to the back end or the top half of the first round, right? The bottom half of the first round. So you need the bites at the apple. You need the lineman to get there. And I think, and sorry, one more thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, piggybacking off of Bobby's comment, one of these, he would trade one of those picks. If I could say a 5, take the top offensive lineman. I know everyone doesn't want to double dip on the offensive line. If I could trade 7 down, move back into the 11 to 14 range, I might take Kenyon Green. I think he's the top guard in this draft class, and I think you take a Kwanu or Cross at 5, plug him in at right tackle, and then you put Green next to Andrew Thomas. I mean, you're on your way to having a decent offensive line already with those 3 players.
There you go, and then you go edge in the second.
Because no one's talking about Kenyon Green, but that guy's everyone wants Lindenbaum. I prefer Kenyon Green. I think he's going to be an amazing guard, and I think he's the top guard in this draft class. But just no one's talking about him because he's a guard.
Right. But like you said, if edge is deep, maybe we do go for a guy in the second round. Somebody slips. Someone always slips that we never think, and somebody always rises that we don't see coming. I'm just saying, I agree with you. I'm saying, though, if you have a chance to get an edge, maybe this is the time to get one because the Giants' defense needs some dogs on the defense. You know what I mean? You need some investment on that side of the football. I know we have Azeez Ojulari. Ellison Smith is still a question mark, right? Quincy Roche, we believe in the potential, but you get a bona fide edge rusher that you can plug in for the next 5 years.
You guys are playing 3-4, right?
Yes, and it's a blitzing scheme.
I still feel like you guys are going to take Devin Lloyd, and people don't have this. Devin Lloyd's like a poor man's Meek Parsons, and I know Mrs.
I love Devin
nuts
Lloyd.
over that. Devin Lloyd, there are plays where he puts his hands in the dirt to rush the quarterback.
Oh yes,
and he's a linebacker. I think if you're running a 3-4, he's the perfect 3-4 outside linebacker. He could be a 3-4 outside linebacker. So if you're playing 3-4, Ojulari's probably be outside linebacker, and you need another one. So it's I used to think
do a lot of A-gap
blitzing. Type of guy for that, but I think Devin Lloyd technically could do that too. I think he could be an edge rusher. I think he's a poor man's Parsons.
Well,
I'm not saying he is Parsons.
Well, that's a good point. Parsons is like the weapon. I know we talk about the weapon or the gadget player on offense. Maybe Parsons is like the gadget player, or Devin Lloyd's the gadget player on defense, because the Swiss Army knife. You can put him anywhere. He's played safety, so he can cover people. He can blitz. He's strong enough to be, like you said, on the edge. Right. I don't want to keep him down there. In certain packages, I want him down there, but I don't want him to be featured down there. But he's what I call a 4-down player. You can put him on special teams if you want. There's so many things you can do with them.
And you know how this league is. It's a copycat league. Let's face it. If Parsons goes to any other team, they might not use him as a defensive
no doubt about it.
They might have just kept him at linebacker. No one would have ever known he could play defensive line. So now
hey, Miz, I'm going to dip out. It's been nice talking to you guys.
All right, Logan.
I'm leaving soon, too. So now you have all this. Now everyone's going to be like, well, I got to find the next Parsons. It's a copycat league. And it's like, well, Devin Lloyd can be that guy because he could rush with his hands in the dirt and play outside linebacker and play middle linebacker and I can put him in coverage. So it's like, I don't know.
He plays that Joker safety that they love now.
Yeah.
That little money backer.
Kind of reminds me of a Judon. I don't know. I could see you guys taking him.
Like he says he wants that Chad Mua. I don't mind Mua as well, but I think with Lloyd, you are the versatility. He's like a weapon. Like think of that Simmons cat. I forgot his name. Isaiah Simmons. He's the same type of player. I know he's not doing well with Arizona, but when he came out, he was a jack of all trades. He played linebacker. He played safety. He had his hand in the dirt. He did a lot of stuff. And I think Lloyd is just a better overall player. And I think you're right, Chris. Wink Martindale is going to go to Joe Schoen and say, I need this type of linebacker to function in my defense. And if you got a guy like Lloyd who can be, your staple guy, take him.
And it's not just, I know everyone's talking about Chad Muma. Everyone's obsessed with Muma now. But there's also there's the guy from Oklahoma that no one's talking about, Azaboa. He's supposed to be really good.
Isn't there a kid in Wisconsin that's pretty decent?
That's Wisconsin is Muma.
Oh, no, that's Wyoming. Is
then there's a guy Beavers from Cincinnati. No one's talking about. He could do a lot of things. There's Channing Tindall from Georgia. There's guys that no one's even talking about. So I know we all become obsessed with this one guy that we have to have, but it's like there are other linebackers in this draft that you could probably get in the second round.
Also. By the way, Trayvon Walker's a beast. I'm watching some of his highlights.
I'm telling you, Trayvon Walker. People are sleeping on that guy. They're saying. Dan Bugler, and I respect his opinion because he's not a media guy. He's a legit. He does this. He makes a scout book and everything. He has him as his 6th overall prospect in this draft class, and I'm pretty sure Daniel Jeremiah has him pretty high. And one mock draft had the Browns taking him, and everyone's like, "What? That guy's gonna get picked?" And people are gonna be like, "Who the hell is that?" But
exactly,
he's 270, 6'5", and he has amazing athletic ability that they said he could be an edge rusher. I should just start watching the film on him because they say he's going to be a first-round pick, and no one's even talking about that guy. Not
yet. See, you watch the film right now. That's your dude right there, boy. He's built like he's a mean mamma jamma. They're making. See, the thing is, defense is now evolving, which is interesting, right? Because the game has changed so offensively, but now you're getting players who can do so much more on defense. It's going to be a challenge at some point where it comes back down to earth. We're not going to see these high-scoring games anymore because the defense is eventually going to catch up with the offense athletically. You're starting to see it right now with all these D linemen. The guy is 6'5", 270, and he's going to blow up the combine. I'm telling you, that guy runs a 4.5, a 4.4. Bye. Goodbye.
So I just looked it up. Daniel Jeremiah on his first rankings on his big board, he has him as the 15th ranked player, and I don't feel like I even heard anything about him from Todd McShay or Mel Kiper. But basically, so I would suggest people to start doing some homework on him.
Great wingspan.
Yeah, so that's going to be a guy that no one's talking about. That may be one of the top edge rushers taken in this draft.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like Lloyd a lot. If we could get him at 7, I wouldn't be complaining. I'd be happy.
Well, it'll be the first time the Giants draft a first-round linebacker since 1984. So
after tonight, go watch some film on Trayvon Walker and then get.
I'm already watching film as we speak.
I'm gonna look at Trayvon Walker tonight, right after we get off here.
Because this guy, I'm not saying we're gonna pick him at 7, but with 7, the wild card is anything. This is what people don't realize. You can take a flyer on potential. right? If you think the guy is highest on your board and you think Trayvon Walker, after you've done your due diligence, moves up your draft board and you think you can pick him at 7, I'll trust Joe Shane and their eyes for this draft class. You know what I mean? I just got to let it play out because I think we get too nitpicky sometimes on need versus a guy because he's not the guy we know about, right? It's like, oh, well, why'd you pick this guy? Because we don't know him. He's a bad pick. And then he goes off and has a great career. You know what I'm saying? So the more we know, the more we'll understand. And the more I think 7 is a wild card for the Giants. I really do. I think 5 is already locked in. If you were to earmark a draft, right, and you were earmark money or your budget, 5's already a lineman. Whatever lineman drops, Neil, Aquanu, that's it, bang. 7 becomes my wild card. Do I trade it? Do I take a corner? Do I take an edge rusher? Do I do this? You know, with the Jets, it's different because I feel the Jets like to maneuver a lot. So I can see the Jets trading out of 10 and getting more picks.
I also think that everyone wants to trade the picks. I think 7 is going to be 7 to 10 is if people are going to come up for quarterbacks. I think that's
where they're
the
going.
range. Because
look, people forget Atlanta needs a quarterback.
You're gonna have to get in front of Washington. Yeah, Atlanta, Denver, and Washington, and you got to get in front of those teams if you want a quarterback. So
right, because I think whoever, if Malik doesn't go 3, Kenny Pickett, I believe, will go 6, and that leaves 7 where now you got to start picking your guy because Atlanta, I think, would do what we said, and that is take a guy like Willis or take whatever quarterback they want and sit him for a year while Matt Ryan rides out into the sunset, right? And you can develop him into that offense. I mean, you know, it's something to think about, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what Eric is asking, but let me ask you this: what happens if the Jags take Neal and the Jets take Aquanu at 4? What's the question?
I guess he's saying, well, who are we going to pick then?
Well, what edge rushers are there? Is
Thibodeau there?
Thibodeau.
If not, then Michael Cross.
I would take Charles Cross. I think he's the best pure pass protector out of the tackles in this draft class. I wouldn't be surprised with him. Bro, he's the best pass protector. These other guys are run blockers. No one's like Charles Cross is the truest left tackle actually out of the top 3 tackles, and just no one's talking about him. But
well, I mean, they are talking about him, but Aquanu's getting hype. The only thing that concerns me about Aquanu is he
Neal scares me.
Well, Neal does too, weight wise, but Aquanu scares me because
team, I don't want Neal.
Because the only thing that scares me about Aquanu is that he only played a year at tackle, and I'm just worried that he hasn't seen everything. He may not. Will he be ready to assimilate to the NFL? Playing tackle because he's been guard. The versatility is great. I love the fact he can kick inside. That's always a need. When someone goes down, can you kick a guy inside? But I like a guy to focus on one position. Like I don't necessarily need him to just be a guard and a tackle. Just be a tackle. Focus on that. Once you've mastered that, then we can worry about you kicking inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's why Linderbaum. When everyone's like, "Oh, we'll make him a guard first. I'm like, "Yo, but he's a center, and now you're going to put a guy who's small at guard, who's going to go up against a guy like Fletcher Cox or Aaron Donald. I don't think that's the wisest decision.
It's just way too early to start doing mock drafts right now and stuff because it's like once you get a better idea, the combine and free agency, you can start getting a better idea of things. It's just like
of who's going
some of these guys we're talking about in the combine. If they have awful combines and they're slow, they're like some of these guys maybe going to the end of the first round we're talking about. And it's like guys that we're not even talking about maybe going in the top 10. So let's just hold off until we get – it's only 2 weeks away, a week away. So let's get to that point.
People can't wait. I guess we will find out what's going to happen. But screw both of you. I'm ending the stream.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We are coming on.
We don't need to give the people our conversation for the next 10 minutes. We're going to be texting anyway. So
hey, we'll have more streams. I have a lot of guys already texting me that they love this tonight. So we did good. Thanks for staying.
Don't give away all your trade secrets, Chris.
Yeah, keep some stuff. Buko. We're going to need you here. You came up big tonight, Buko. So that's good. That's good that you were on and you helped out. And we're coming on 3 hours and 15 minutes, which is too much for my eyes.
Yeah, you wasted my whole night doing this stuff. Okay.
This is not a waste of a night. Talking football is not a waste of a night. If you want to go waste a night, go eat your chicken farm sandwich by yourself then.
This was a good night. This was a good success, man. And a lot of people enjoyed it. So, I think we had like over 50 viewers, 35 likes. And then we had people here. So this was a good night. And it went on for a long time. We still got people questioning. Hey, Bobby, thanks for being along with us tonight. Next time, hop on. I'm going to put you in. I don't know when the next time will be, but we'll put it out there. I guess it will get closer to the combines. So I'm not we're not just gonna throw out streams just because we have nothing to do.
I guess you'll be hearing me on Tuesday night because I got to call Hub Stream now. So
yeah, call Hub Stream. I'll watch Tuesday night. I'm sure we'll talk tomorrow. Great stream.
Well, we talk every day.
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff, man. Thanks for making it happen. All right, guys.
Thank you for having us, Miz.
Have a good night. Good night, Bobby.